On day 6, you start to feel it.
Maybe this is my year.
You can't help it.
Being the world champion for a year would be a lot of fun. I think I'd be a great ambassador for the game.
You start to think, I could be the one. 141 obstacles stand in your way.
I wouldn't say there's anyone left in the field that really intimidates me.
141 must go before you can put this bracelet on your wrist.
I want to be able to say I have a bracelet. Then I can say I'm champ.
It's been a grind to get to day 6, but the hardest part is yet to come.
Can I make it happen? One time?
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. The quest for the bracelet and $8.7 million continues.
All right, day 6. Here we go. Should be fun.
We're at the same table.
Yeah, you'd be right.
Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. The rail is growing here inside the Amazon room as the remaining 142 players ready themselves for day 6.
This guy's been lugging that camera around for a week, man. He's a rock star.
Another day in paradise.
Didn't get any sleep whatsoever.
The cast of characters is colorful and they share the same goal, make the November 9.
Let's go, Brazil.
Woohoo! Claudia Crawford is focused.
Here we are. We meet again.
I'm going to bring this little tiny thing to the final table. It's going to be very funny for you guys to watch.
Ben Lamb's stack has never been in danger.
We've been spending so much time with this guy, Lon, I'm going to list him on my next tax return as a dependent.
German Pius Heinz redefines the term aggression.
This guy makes bets that scare Wall Street. He's 22 and he has no fear on the felt.
Erick E-Dog Lindgren is still short stacked, but he's worked hard just to make it this far.
He talked his way to a wedding ring this year. Now he's trying to play his way to a main event bracelet.
And there's David Bach, the chip leader and massage leader, nearing 5 million chips.
1 part gunslinger, 1 part gambler, 2 parts good guy.
Bach and Heinz are separated by less than a single small blind. 3 others have cracked 4 million as well. A stacked top 10 as we kick off day 6.
David Bach is going to need all those massages to keep his body in shape against all the 20-somethings who are chasing him.
The blinds right now at 12 and 24,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. The average stack right now almost 1.5 million. At an outer table, Russian Alexander Moishnikov just in time to see Erick Lindgren all in with ace-9. Action on the big blind, Ninh Nguyen holding ace-7 suited. He calls to put Lindgren at risk.
Win runner-up for the 2004 World Series Player of the Year. Lindgren was the 2008 World Series Player of the Year.
Lindgren in good shape to double his small stack. Here is the flop for 9-4. Lindgren pairs his 9, all but guaranteeing survival.
Win is going to need runner-runner.
Turn card 10 of clubs. When drawing dead, Lindgren up to 697,000.
Eric on the uptick.
His 28th World Series cash first in the main event is guaranteed to be at least $54,800.
I knew we were very close.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Lindgren, it seems, short stacked most of the way, doubles to about 30 big blinds here. You start the main event with 30,000 chips. Eric had 3,700 at the end of day 1.
Most poker players rave about the blind structure at the main event. There is plenty of time for all types of playing styles, but at some point you have to get in and get your hands dirty. Waiting around will leave you waiting at the payout cage. Norman, it seems that if someone is going to make a push for the November 9, now is the time.
Now is the time to run good. One word. And in order to run good, you've got to hit the ground running. Erick Lindgren got the day started off with a push, a prayer, and some run good. David Bach might have used up all of his run good. And who knows, Jean-Robert Bellande may only know how to run bad. But whether you run good or run bad, you'd better start sprinting toward the November 9 now.
I'm JRBing.
I don't know how lucky or good he is.
Probably both. Like most of us.
Probably more luck.
Jean-Robert Bellande getting dissed by the featured table, and Bellande's not even here to defend himself. Joseph Cheong, last year's third-place finisher in the main event, folds. Phil Collins sitting at this table, one of a handful of players over 4 million chips. Action on Giuseppe Pastura from Italy on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Holcam, ace-jack of clubs. 41-year-old with a raise to 52,000.
We started day 6 here with 142 players. 25 years ago when Barry Johnson won, the entire field was 141.
Folded to Mario Silvestri, not from Italy, from Fort Worth, Texas. Queen Jack offsuit.
There was not a single player in 1986 wearing a hoodie.
With Pastura opening for 52,000, Silvestri comes along. Now to Phil Collins, the top stack at this table with ace-king off.
Collins has a business administration degree from the University of South Carolina.
That is why his online handle is USC Phildo. And he makes a raise to 200,000 back to Pastura now.
Well, there's a 41-year-old who looks like he's tired of getting pushed around by young guns.
He does have some of the green chips in hand, worth 25,000 each. Does he want to go against the top stack here? Wow, there's a 4-bet to 552,000. Silvestri quickly folds.
Collins played online 5 nights a week when he was in college. I guess he did his classwork during the day.
All in.
Oh, well, he's getting busy here. A re-raise to put Pastura all in.
And Pastura faced with a 5-bet.
I call.
And a call with ace-jack against Collins, ace-king. And yeah, Pastura in very bad shape.
Wow, that's a loose call, Lon, for all your chips. Pastura started the hand with more than 80 big blinds. If he was lucky, he was going to be in a coin flip here.
And here is the flop. He hits 2 clubs. That will make Collins sweat. Pastura flops a flush draw.
That's a lucky flop for Pastura. Now it is closer to a coin flip.
Turn card now. A red 5 opens the door for a chop pot with a gut shot on the board.
12 cards for Pastura to win, 3 to chop, or he's gone, and we're going to have a new chip leader.
The river card. Collins pairs his king. Giuseppe Pastura will send his 2 million chips to Phil Collins, vaulting him over 6 million, giving him the lead.
And Collins going over to shake his hand and maybe thank him for the chips.
No kidding. Giuseppe Pastura wins almost $55,000 here at the 2011 main event. And Phil Collins is top dog.
Now he has like 6.
We did have a lot of history. But no, we've never played before.
Yeah.
Collins still a bit amazed that Pastura called off the remainder of his stack, almost 1.5 million chips with ace-jack suited. To the outer tables, London poker pro J.P. Kelly flopped a Broadway draw against Hollywood director Mars Callahan, who has a pair of aces and the lead after the turn. He checks.
Kelly won 2 bracelets in '09, one of them at World Series Europe.
Kelly makes a bet of 155,000. And Callahan with the call.
The Hollywood guy against the London pro.
All right, the river card. 5 of spades. Callahan winds up with the best hand.
Mars knows how to direct films. He doesn't know how to wear baseball caps.
He's been working that cloverleaf, though, very well at this main event. And a tiny bet of 155,000 on the river.
Indeed, a small bet.
J.P. Kelly raises Callahan all in.
Well, Mars Callahan is frustrated, but that small bet was like he was telling Kelly, please raise me so I can comfortably fold. Kelly with the bluff, and Mars Callahan with a tough decision for all his chips.
Top pair, but for Kelly to commit that many chips on the river gives Callahan pause for concern. Mars shows his ace and folds.
3 mistakes by Mars. He shouldn't have let out, he shouldn't have folded, and he shouldn't have shown his ace.
Mars left to wonder, but now must put that hand behind him and soldier on. 35 different men have been crowned main event champion in the history of the World Series of Poker. We're just a few playing days away from crowning the 36th. At an outer table, 2 Las Vegas pros are testing each other. 31-year-old Lars Bonding flopped top pair with his jack kicker. He's been pipped, though, by 34-year-old Erick Lindgren's top pair with a queen kicker. Erick bet and Lars raised.
All in.
And Erick moves all in.
On the call.
And Bonding makes the call.
And for the second straight all-in here on day 6, Lindgren has his opponent dominated. Remember, Erick had just 3,700 chips at the end of day 1.
Turn card, 7 of diamonds. Bonding picks up a flush draw.
So now Erick Lindgren will need to fade a jack or any diamond to stick around.
The river card. The tray of clubs, and Lindgren does it again, this time doubling to 1.2 million. So Erick now moving toward the average stack in the room. Bonding still healthy with over 2.7 million chips.
You know what I always say, Lon? 3,700 chips in a chair. Because I have 3,700 chips at some point of every tournament I've ever played.
All right, let's get back over to the featured table. We saw Phil Collins take the chip lead a moment ago. Contrary to what some may think, he is not named after the 7-time Grammy Award-winning musician.
My name's Philip Collins. My nickname's Phildo, and I'm from South Carolina. There is a singer who won Grammys. His name is Philip David Collins. I've heard all the jokes about my name. I never got it until I went to college and I started meeting new people, and then they'd hear my name for the first time and have a joke to say. I'm a very mathematical player. I was always a math kid growing up, and I think that's why online poker really appealed to me, and I was able to do really well, because you have to make decisions based off of little to no information.
He is a fearless player that I think he's added that extra live gear where he's really reading people very well.
I think I'm playing the best poker of my life. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but I think that all the experience that I've had playing online and then playing a lot of really big tournaments for the past couple of years has culminated into this tournament, and I'm playing it exactly how I want to.
He's going to call some really good bluffs. He's going to make some really good bluffs. The kid is fearless, and he is a huge contender to win this year.
Phil, frustrated by his lack of live success, hoping the main event is his breakout moment.
Collins with Queen 10 off, the 6 million chip man.
He's good friends with bracelet winners Jason Mercier and Alan Barry.
He raises to 55,000.
You may recall Dennis Phillips, third in the main event in 08, and then 45th the following year. Joseph Cheong hoping to surpass that, third last year, making a deep run here.
Folded to Harold Wasson in the small blind. He lays down in the big blind Lance Steinberg with pocket trays.
A 44-year-old real estate developer from Jericho, New York.
This is his first World Series cash. He calls for 31,000 more, and will go heads up against the chip leader. Queen, Jack, 8. Steinberg way behind now. Collins with top pair and a gut shot. Steinberg checked.
It seems that most of the older players left in the main event are amateurs, and all the younger players are poker pros.
Check to the turn, 4 of spades. Steinberg still way behind, but he's going to venture a bet of 77,000.
Steinberg seemingly has the right idea here, but Collins played it very tricky with his check on the flop.
Collins just with a call here on the turn. Another queen on the river for Phil Collins.
And now Steinberg stepping into a sinkhole. It's like a real estate deal gone bad.
There's plenty of those. Maybe Steinberg emboldened by the fact that the odds are long that Collins has a queen with 2 on board. He bets 118,000.
Collins getting some extra value out of his check on the flop.
Is he drooling, Norman?
Call.
He makes the call. Steinberg shows his trays, but trip queens will win that pot for Phil Collins.
I root for the older amateurs, but they keep getting run over by the younger pros.
I guess with a big stack, the other players always figure you're getting shifty. Collins over 6.5 million now. All right, we go from our featured table to get our first look at the secondary table. One of our leaders in the room sitting there, German pro Pius Heinz with over 4.7 million.
He started playing poker after watching the main event on television. I have groomed so many great players.
Jean-Robert Bellande also here.
Jean-Robert always trying to sell a reality show about himself. His life is a fantasy, though.
And one of the more likable players in the game, Eli Elezra.
If I were still a young man, Lon, I'd want to grow up to be like Eli Elezra.
Tree Wing with Pocket Kings, British Columbian, 33 years old.
A venture capitalist and investment consultant.
His family escaped from Vietnam when he was 4 years old. They were rescued from the ocean. He raises to 60,000 on Hilton Laborda, an amateur from Brazil.
The 29-year-old businessman is wearing the Brazilian flag. Maybe he forgot his passport.
With Queen Jack offsuit, he makes the call. Folded around to Elezra with Ace 8 of spades. He lost a last longer bet with Mike Matiso during the World Series. Had to shave his head and pay off the mouth, $10,000. Three-way flop, 9 trade king, a set of kings for Wing. Elezra first to act, he missed. He checks. Now with the set. Wing checks.
Wing will slow play it.
Laborda with a gut shot, and he checks. Turn card now is a 10, and so much for the set of kings. Laborda just turned a king high straight. Elezra with the nut flush draw. And he bets 66,000.
Playing a recreational player, but he does play a lot of high-stakes cash games.
Suddenly his 3 kings are behind, but he has outs. He makes the call. Laborda with the made straight.
Laborda has the cape and the nuts.
Laborda a little messy with his chips. A raise to 266,000.
Ellie drawn to the nut flush, but he's not getting the right price, and he's got Hwing behind him.
And he does lay his hand down. Now Tree Wing.
There is only one hand that beats Hwing at the moment. It's the hand Laborda has.
I'm all in.
And he likes those kings. He raises Laborda all in.
Wow.
And Laborda has not acted yet. I don't know why.
Well, maybe he's trying to lure Ellie back into the hand.
Laborda has the nuts. Laborda has the nuts. There's no real decision.
And the man in the flag calls all in. Hwing's 3 kings. We'll see they're way behind.
Hwing slow plays kings, and Laborda slow rolls the nuts by going into the tank on his all-in call.
I led a smooth call.
Wow, what a hand right off the bat.
Laborda 1 card from a big double up.
Hwing needs to pair the board to send Laborda out of here.
The river card is a 5. And Laborda has doubled up big time to almost 3.8 million.
Do you have any idea what the dry cleaning costs are on a national flag?
Hwing is stunned and silenced by his loss, and Laborda's slow roll. The Brazilian amateur suddenly a force in this main event. Hilton Laborda has more than doubled his stack already here on day 6. No, the amateur doesn't act quickly, but he's gotten it right so far. Welcome back to the Rio. 131 players left in the 2011 main event. Phil Collins with a commanding lead on day 6, but there's rarely anything safe about the top spot here at the World Series of Poker. 3 women still remain in the field, all 20-somethings. 25-year-old Erica Motino.
Her boyfriend, David Doc Sands, is also still alive here in the main event. That doesn't seem possible.
And 26-year-old Claudia Crawford.
Her fiance, Gabe Costner, finished 35th in last year's main event. That doesn't seem possible.
And 26-year-old Amanda Musamechi.
Currently flying solo here, but if she wins the main event, trust me, she's going to get a lot of serious offers.
For a report on another player of note in the field, here's Kara Scott.
Chamath Palihapitiya was a VP at the social media giant Facebook, or as his friend Phil Hellmuth likes to call him, a Facebook billionaire. But he's no stranger to poker, and he's actually played with some of the best players in the world, and that's good training for going deep in the main event. He started today with about 500,000 chips, and he told me that he'd really love to make the final table just because of the role reversal of having poker pro Phil Hellmuth sweating him at the final.
Nothing like a Phil Hellmuth rant from the rail.
All right, back over to our secondary table. Action folded to Pius Heinz in the small blind. Queen 9 off. He moved to Austria a few months back. He makes a raise to 62,000 in the big blind. Bellande with Queen 8.
I believe Jean-Robert would walk across the desert barefoot and buck naked to defend his big blind.
He will see a flop against a much bigger stack. Bellande way behind. Trade deuce 8. Bellande now way ahead with his pair of 8s.
Blind versus blind, Lon. Poker in its rawest form.
Heinz will posture with 65,000.
The aggressive Heinz says, I think you've got nothing, so it doesn't matter that I've got nothing.
But Bellande has something, and he raises to 158,000.
Yeah, guess what, Pius? Every once in a while, a squirrel in the blind finds an acorn. Jean-Robert does have something. But this is what 22-year-olds in hoodies do. They don't concede pots. Heinz has nothing, and he doesn't want to quit.
Heinz, the top stack at this table, has no quit in him. Re-raises to 282.
Heinz doesn't believe Bellande hit any part of that flop, so he 3-bets it.
I'm all in.
And Bellande comes over the top, all in. And quickly, Pius Heinz folds.
Give the chips to the squirrel in the blind.
Nice hand, Bobby.
Well, haven't been all in that risk since day 4, I guess. right before the bubble.
Could have happened there.
Huh?
Could have happened there.
Of course, I was at risk. All you had to do was snap call.
Oh, look, the Brazilian flag is back. I guess it couldn't find a flagpole.
My man, you got a lot of chips. There's rookies in this tournament. I suggest you play poker with them, not me.
I got your answer.
We can play poker if you want to, but I'm not looking to play. I'm not looking to dance with you. I promise.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
A word of warning to Heinz. Over to an outer table, and the man Kara Scott was just talking about.
This could be it. Not sure what it is, but it could be what it could be.
Chamath Palihapitiya is all in with his pocket kings. He's in good shape against the sevens of Wei Cheng.
Cheng, a 31-year-old pro from Paramus, New Jersey.
Flop 5, Queen 4. The kings of Palihapitiya are unthreatened.
It's a nice way. Put up a 6 so that we can have an up and down for it.
Oh, you really want that 6, huh?
No, I don't, sir. I was just kidding. That was sarcasm. Please don't put up a 6.
No 6.
How about that 7? You want the 7 now?
No, I do not, sir. No 7, thank you. Look, I got to take from Kevin Federline over here.
Go ahead, give him the 7 of diamonds then.
Please don't do that, sir.
Okay, well, don't ask for a 6 on the turn next time.
No 7.
The river's a 9. Palihapitiya survives and doubles up.
This is like a bunch of celebrity lookalikes at the table.
All this comes from M. Night Shyamalan.
Jason, jeez! Where did that come from? Richie Sambora to my left, Ryan Philippi in the 3 seat.
I like that one.
Kevin Federline, Kevin Federline, the stockier version, but don't worry, he's gonna lose it.
Why? He's gained a lot of weight, man.
And an Amish guy in the guy from Ocean's 11. It's unbelievable, this table. ESPN, please put split screens for all those names that I just mentioned. Okay? That is great television.
That's actually not a bad idea, Chamath. As we found out, a lot of poker players do resemble celebrities.
M. Night Shyamalan, thanks a lot.
It's interesting, believe it or not, back in the day, people used to say I looked a lot like The Rock, which I never really got.
When I was much younger and wore tennis tracksuits, it was Andre Agassi.
People always tell me that I look like Billy Walsh from Entourage.
Everybody tell me I look very much like French actor Jean Reno.
And then as rounders hit, it was Edward Norton.
I've been told I look like Matt Damon and then the guy from Star Wars.
Now I get a lot that I look like Vince Vaughn.
In hockey, people, especially when I used to have my helmet on, people say I look like Messier.
I just don't think Vince is that good looking.
People say I look like the kid from Sopranos, Tony Soprano's cousin or something.
I was at a poker table and a guy next to me said, "Are you that actor?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, I won't say anything, but, I like your work." So I'm like, "All right, thanks." And on my way back, a guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you Leonardo DiCaprio?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, that guy, when you left the table who was sitting next to you, told everyone you're Leonardo DiCaprio."
In college, I was told I resembled Yasser Arafat, which somewhat explained my lack of social life. Back to you, Mr. Alan Alda.
All right, another battle of kings and sevens in the glasses. Vasily Sapko with pocket sevens. Mars Callahan holds pocket kings after the flop. Sapko bet $125,000. And now Callahan with a raise to $350.
So now it's the Hollywood guy against the Moscow pro.
I asked him what he was going to do if she won. He said,
Sapko re-raises all in.
Mars doesn't snap call anything. You should see him at Ben & Jerry's trying to decide what flavor he wants.
I guess if we're going to go, let's go. I go.
He does make the call to put Sapko at risk. Callahan in great position to add over 1 million new chips to his stack.
Sapko in horrendous shape for his main event life.
Good luck.
You're the one that needs the luck, Mr. Sapko. Turn card, Queen of Spades is no help to the Russian.
Sapko looking for a 7, or Callahan will have left him on the cutting room floor.
The river card. The 4 of Hearts. Sapko knocked out of the main event by Mars Callahan. Look out.
Mars always in search of his rail.
Walk it off.
Big win for Mars.
Oh, it's Poker Junkies.
If Mars Callahan wins the main event, Poker Junkies might become a big budget film.
Black Knight.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mars Callahan will not go quietly in this main event, sitting with almost 2.4 million chips. This is a refuse to lose kind of guy. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Day 6 of the 2011 main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky continues from the Rio. This tournament has become somewhat an event of haves and have-nots. The small stacks either trying to avoid the big stacks or double through them. Thomas Oldcroft right now trying to hang on.
It's the best week of my life. Next to my honeymoon. Keep it going for me, Sarah.
He's all in with King, Queen of Clubs against the pocket sixes of Guillaume Darcourt.
It's a marriage. It's a marriage. It's me and my wife.
If King Queen is a marriage, it's now my least favorite hand.
Outs. Outs.
He's got a flush draw.
What percent am I now?
Darcourt still with the best hand, but Oldcroft now the favorite.
4 of spades. Oldcroft still with a lot of outs.
But Oldcroft now a 2-1 underdog to keep this honeymoon going.
Oldcroft looking for one of the 15 outs. That's not one of them.
I had the time of my life.
And there's a great exit speech from Thomas Oldcroft.
A great main event for the 60-year-old bill collector from O'Fallon, Missouri. And he can go home and tell his wife he got knocked out by a guy in pink hair.
That guy is French pro Guillaume Darcourt, who sends Oldcroft on his way with a payday of nearly $55,000.
Good decision, no regrets.
Oldcroft showing you don't have to win the bracelet to have your main event dream come true. All right, back to our featured table where Phil Collins sits with almost 6.5 million chips and the main event lead. Christian Harder with 9-7 of hearts.
23-year-old pro from Annapolis, Maryland, the most underrated state capital. He finished 100th at the 2010 main event.
A raise to 60,000. Harder has the second biggest stack at this table with about 1.9 million.
Annapolis is on the Chesapeake Bay, which I believe is the most underrated bay in the world.
Jody Howe in the big blind with pocket fours from British Columbia, Canada will go up against Christian Harder heads up. The flop is 6-9-4. Howe flops a set. Harder catches top pair. And Howe will check his set. Harder will bet top pair, 70,000.
Harder thinks he got what he wanted, but in life you seldom do.
It is Howe who got what he wanted, and there's a raise to 195,000.
Harder cashed 7 times in the 2010 World Series. He's a player.
Howe with about half the chip stack of Harder. Christian Harder.
All in.
Raises Howe all in.
I call.
And Howe calls. And he's 2 cards from doubling up through Christian Harder.
Big misstep by Harder, and he's staring at a big hit to his stack.
Jody Howe caught a 3rd-4 on the flop. And the king on the turn ends the drama. Harder can't win it. Howe and Harder pretty much swap chip counts.
Very nice double up for the Canadian, sitting on 2 million chips now.
Nice hand.
Oh, yeah.
Jody Howe just doubled up through Collins' good friend Christian Harder, whom Collins calls one of poker's best all-round players. 127 players now remain in the main event at an outer table. Guillaume Darcourt back in action. This time, the Frenchman holds pocket aces. He called Marton Susor's pre-flop raise. He holds pocket queens. Susor, a 21-year-old from Hungary. Here's the flop. Jack 9-9. Darcourt with aces up, stands tall. He checks.
This is France versus Hungary, pink hair versus brown, sunglasses versus prescription glasses.
Check to the turn, 6 of spades. No worries for Darcourt. The problem for Susor is that board is not too scary for his queens.
Well, it's not too scary for Darcourt. He's pretty comfortable with his pocket aces.
Guillaume announces 350,000 is the bet. Now Susor with queens up.
Susor, a college student in Budapest.
And he is putting together a call, and that's what he does. So 1,280,000 in the pot.
Darcourt, the 38-year-old businessman. The pink hair is because of a bet he lost.
He has Susor covered by over 1 million chips. Here's the river card, 7 of clubs. Let's see if Susor can avoid disaster after Darcourt checks.
Susor has cashed in a couple of European Poker Tour main events.
He says all in.
Well, Darcourt no longer as comfortable with his aces. Always hard to get away from aces anyway. This would be for 40% of his stack. And Susor's got to love his hand at this point.
Yeah, Guillaume definitely did not expect this move.
I hope you bluff, man. I hope you bluff. I won't fold this hand. I won't fold this hand. I call.
Call, please.
Yes.
Queens and nines.
Yes.
Susor confidently turned over his queens, but Dark Horse aces take the day.
That was a tough call.
Payout on 316.
Susor thought he had the winner. His second cash of this World Series worth almost $55,000. Dark Core up to almost 4 million chips.
Thank you. Need it.
No, son. Kara's not going to interview you. Sorry.
What do you think I had?
Queens.
Queens?
Or kings, maybe, but
And
probably
you think
queens.
you had jacks?
No, I thought he had aces.
Yeah?
The table that I was
at.
Dark Core with a very productive day 6 so far after beginning with about 1.6 million. Back to our feature table, the tournament chip leader Phil Collins with Queen 10 off. And he raises to 55,000.
I know this is going to sound stupid, but whoever becomes the chip leader just always looks like the chip leader.
To Matthew Wantman in the big blind, 10-7 of diamonds.
Best friends with Taylor von Kriegenberg, who won a WPT title this year.
He's short stacked and he's all in for 380,000.
See, Collins looks like the chip leader. Wantman does not.
All right, I call.
Collins makes the call. He didn't need much of his stack to do that.
Nice call.
So Matthew Wantman at risk going up against the biggest stack in the room.
Sick call. I don't know how you make that.
He makes it because he has 6.5 million chips, and it was just for 5% of his stack. Wantman had just 15 big blinds left.
He is looking for help on the flop.
Ooh-wee.
And he gets it with a flush draw.
I like that.
Fun.
Give me a diamond. Keep it red.
How about an 8?
Keep it red.
That'll give you...
How does he call that?
Because he has 6.5 million chips.
Come on, baby. 7.
9 is good for you, too.
9 works.
What, Collins rooting on Wantman now?
Third card 4 of clubs.
That's not a good card.
Collins keeps the lead.
4 works.
River Rat. River Rat, 4, 9, 7, diamond. Come on.
Or something like that.
The river card. A tray of clubs, and Collins busts another one.
Good call.
I don't know how he makes that call, Lon.
Matthew Wantman knocked out of the main event by the chip leader, Phil Collins.
Don't get it all in with flush draws versus me. Too many outs.
They always flop it, yeah.
You're a very special dealer. Do you know that?
Absolutely everything going right for Phil Collins as he puts the remaining field on notice that he is here to win. Welcome back to the Rio. Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 6,865 players started this main event. Now we are working towards 100. So much at stake, $8.7 million to the new world champ and, of course, the gold bracelet. At the secondary table, Hilton Laborda becoming a factor here. The 29-year-old Brazilian has been above average at the end of all 5 days, except for a slip-up on day 4. Right now, he has twice the field average with almost $3.6 million.
I have 2 problems with Laborda, that slow roll all-in call when he had the nuts, and I would wear a toga before I would wear a flag.
His slow roll came against Tri Huang, who has ace-deuce of hearts here and raises to 60,000, now on Laborda with 9-7 of clubs.
The only time you should wear a flag is if it's laundry day and you have absolutely nothing left in your closet.
Laborda very slow to do his business. Makes the call. Fold it over to Evan McNiff, poker pro from Connecticut with ace-10 off.
He was born in New Fairfield, Connecticut. New Fairfield, of course, discovered after Old Fairfield.
McNiff now lives in San Diego. And with the ace-10, raises to 143,000. To Paul Spitzberg in the small blind. Poker pro, businessman from New Jersey. 9 tray.
It's a hard decision, but I'm going to lay it down.
How much did you start the hand with?
Heinz in the big blind.
Like 1.3. 1.3?
Yeah, he'd play if McNiff started with 1.4.
Heinz does fold. So the re-raise back to Huang.
Huang did not get my memo on the weak ace.
With his weak suited ace, makes the call. Laborda now. 9-7 suited.
Well, pinch me when Laborda acts.
By the way, I always wondered that. Is it Eli or Eli?
Eli.
Yeah. Okay. But you don't mind
I
people calling you Eli?
I bet 20,000 on you yesterday.
On me?
Yeah, I took you against
Laborda makes the call for 83,000, and we'll have three-way action to the flop. McNiff, Laborda, and Huang. Flop, 10-5 deuce. Huang hits bottom pair. McNiff caught top pair. Huang checks. Laborda missed it. He checks.
McNiff was hoping to take down the pot pre-flop, but the flop is a good one for him.
212,000 the bet from McNiff. Now with a pair of deuces, Huang.
I could swear I put Huang on the master distribution list for my weak ace manifesto.
Come on in.
He moves all in. Laborda folds. So now McNiff in a decision for all his chips.
Well, the pro is a bit mystified by the amateurs all in, and this is for all of Evan McNiff's chips.
I really wish I got texted what he had last time.
He'd still have 35 big blinds left if he folds here.
So the main event comes down to McNiff's read on his opponent right now. McNiff taking his time with this big decision.
If you have nines, I hate my life.
And lays down the best hand. Huang takes it.
The pressure works. That's exactly why I recommend playing the weak ace, Lon.
Three, he bets boiling point, and you raise his blood pressure to boiling point.
No, I had ace 10.
You had ace 10, you said? I felt like you hit the flop.
Tree Huang up to almost 2.3 million.
Big laydown.
I would be willing to wager. Oh, actually, you know what? We'll see. I think that you were in really, really bad shape.
I do too.
The worst hand he could have had was two jacks right there, and I'm not even sure if he had that.
So the risky play works out for the amateur. With some thoughts on Evan McNiff's approach to the hand, let's check in with pro Phil Galfond.
In this hand, McNiff 3-bets with ace-10 offsuit and gets 2 callers. And on a flop of 10-5 deuce rainbow, continuation bets, Hune shoves all in with bottom pair, a very bold play which turned out to be a great play as McNiff clearly was scared for his tournament life, and folds top pair, top kicker. I personally wouldn't have folded there, but I think the key here is that if you're 3-betting a hand and flop almost as well as you can hope for and still aren't comfortable, you probably shouldn't be 3-betting that hand in the first place. I think he should have called and just taken it from there.
Everybody's an expert. I mean, who is Phil Galfond? Has Phil Galfond ever won anything?
Only a World Series bracelet and about $1 billion online.
Big deal.
All right, let's get back over to our featured table with 117 players remaining in the main event. 3 players will see a flop. Mario Silvestri opened under the gun to 48,000 with pocket nines. He was called by Phil Collins with 7-5 of diamonds, and by the big blind, Lance Steinberg holding ace-king off. The flop, 10-6-6. Steinberg missed. Steinberg checks. Silvestri still leads. 9s and 6s. He bets 55,000. Collins got no help with that flop.
Collins feeling his oats right now.
He does make the call.
Coming along with thoughts of thievery.
Steinberg looks at his ace-king.
He's thinking about it.
No, but he folds the ace-king. So heads up now to the turn.
Phil Galfond would have folded there also.
Silvestri and Collins see a turn card of a king. Silvestri with the best of it. Steinberg thinks, oops. Silvestri bets 105,000.
Small bet from the 25-year-old. Silvestri went to high school with David Benefield in Texas. They became friends, and they both became poker pros.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins with nuclear squadouche.
But not going anywhere, it appears. And Collins with a raise to 255,000.
Collins gets frisky with nuclear squadouche.
Silvestri lays down his pocket nines. Collins with a well-timed bluff takes the pot.
Give Phil Collins credit. He's running well, but right there, he's reading well.
Silvestri is Collins' latest victim. Collins using all the powers of the big stack. He's over 7 million now. 7 high on the turn usually doesn't translate into the winning hand, but for Collins, anything is possible right now. Former member of the Red Army, Mikhail Lokotov, did battle in the $2,500 no-limit hold'em event and came away as the last man standing, winning his first bracelet and a second for Russia this year. And in the $10,000 horse championship, Fabrice Soulier became the 3rd Frenchman to capture gold in 2011, winning over $600,000 for his first place finish. There you see some chip counts of a few players we have been keeping tabs on as we get back over to the featured table where the chip leader of the tournament, Phil Collins, sits. Everyone's been trying to figure him out. Now it's your turn, Norman, with the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand.
He's got what he's got. Leave me alone.
All right, he raises to 55,000. Joseph Cheong with 6-5 of diamonds calls.
Well, Collins is under the gun. I'm going to go with A or B, pocket jacks or ace-deuce suited. Two tricky hands to play.
To Mario Silvestri in the small blind with king 10 suited.
You know, I believe my wild card record is much better abroad. In Belgium, I'm like a psychic.
Silvestri calls for 43,000 more. Big blind Christian Harder folds.
Three young guns, one of them trying to get to back-to-back November 9s.
Two players challenging the chip leader. Here is the flop, 7-7-5. Silvestri came up empty and he checks. Collins checks as well.
No continuation from Collins. I think he would c-bet jacks.
Joseph with 5s and 7s checks as well. Queen on the turn. Silvestri checks again. Collins doesn't seem to be checking right now. He has chips in hand.
He would check jacks here, so I think Collins just picked up the nut flush draw with ace-deuce suited, and with nobody showing any signs of life, why shouldn't he bet it?
He bets 110,000.
Imagine Cheong will come along with two pair and a flush draw.
And he does that. Silvestri folds.
All right, I got Collins squarely on ace-deuce suited.
All right, ace-deuce, you say. River card, king of clubs.
They both missed. Who wants it? I think Phil Collins wants it. I think he believes all pots are his on day 6.
And why not? What a day 6 he's had. Collins going up against last year's third place finisher, bets 245,000.
He's bluffing. Call him, Joseph. You're a November 9er. He's not.
Cheong calls.
Aces.
Collins.
I had a feeling it might have been that.
It's aces to win the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand.
Checked on the flop and then...
Nice try, Norman.
Let's not dwell on the fact I was wrong again. Let's dwell on that very nice play by Phil Collins.
You ever have days when it seems you can do no wrong and everything just falls into place with each step you take? That's what it's like to be Phil Collins right now. The current payout, almost $55,000, but that ramps up quickly once we break the 100-player barrier. Let's check in on a couple of big stacks remaining. Ben Lamb sits in second place.
I've got to say, he looks good in white.
And you can alert the press as David Bach is not getting a massage.
Well, there is a masseuses union, and they're pretty powerful.
All right, let's get back to the featured table. Action has folded around to Phil Collins. And on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole camp, 2 black aces, really?
I'm still going to put him on ace-deuce suited in this one as well. Well, we've seen that play he made the previous hand with pocket aces again and again. Check a strong hand on the flop, get paid off later.
From the cutoff, Collins raised to 75,000. Ace, queen of diamonds for Joe Cheong. You thought he liked his 6-5 of diamonds in the previous hand? Re-raises to 200,000 here.
Big hand at a bad time for Joseph Cheong. You can't win with jacks, you can't win with ace-queen. Lon, you and I could start a cruise line with that theme, and we'd make a ton of money.
Back to Collins.
Mullen.
He raises Joe all in.
I call.
Cheong calls to put his bid for back-to-back main event final tables on the hook.
Collins' loose and aggressive reputation helped him here. With 25 big blinds left, Cheong very willing to call all in with ace-queen suited.
Nice hand, Phil.
Good luck.
Thanks. Gonna need it.
I won't feel bad at all.
This matchup. At least a sweat.
I'm cool with whatever.
That's all I'm asking.
Cheong looking for something, and he gets a little help pairing up.
All right, small sweat.
Very small sweat. Only a queen now will keep Cheong's main event alive.
Turn card, 4 of clubs. Joseph Cheong in desperate straits.
Joseph Cheong looking for a 2-outer.
The river card, the 5 of spades ends the hand. Phil Collins wins it. Joseph Cheong knocked out.
It's all Phil Collins out there.
Cheong saying goodbye to his fellow pros.
Good game, Joe.
No November 9 again for Joseph Cheong, but backing up a 3rd-place finish in the main event with 114th place, very hard to do.
Cheong wins almost 55,000. Collins up to almost 8.7 million.
I hadn't had aces in 4 days. I was hoping I'd get them in bunches today. It's working out well.
At least twice.
Timing is everything. Phil Collins remains the top dog on the leaderboard and by a large margin. Lamb and Mozhnikoff neck and neck in second and third. Rutenberg and Heinz representing the Germans nicely. Let's go down to Kara, who's with Joseph Cheong right now.
Joseph, it was an incredible run this year after a final table last year. How do you let this go now as you leave the room?
There was still 3 or 4 days left, so it wasn't even that close in reality, so it's not too hard to let go.
At what point did you start to put your heart into it last year?
No, last year I was hurting for money a little more, so probably a little earlier. So I don't really remember. It was so long ago.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
No problem. Thank you.
Poker can be a game of life or death.
I'm having trouble sleeping because I'm so excited.
Sometimes you have live cards.
Oh, there's a sweat, huh?
Out!
Sometimes you're drawing dead. Some all-ins are suicide. But eventually, you must put your tournament life at risk.
Now I have like this huge hurricane in my chest that is just stuck there. I'm just waiting for it just to explode.
Here on day 6 of the main event, either you survive or you're buried. Welcome back to Las Vegas for more Day 6 action from the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. It's a sign of the times, chips being colored up as the stacks grow well beyond the original 30,000.
Black Knight, Mars Callahan.
Mars Callahan has written himself a nice starring role.
He directed himself in the film Pool Hall Junkies, but he might be doing a better job of directing himself here.
Can't believe they named you after a candy bar.
113 players remain, and over at our secondary table, some of the biggest names trying to move up the leaderboard, including bracelet winner Eli Elezra.
The man from the big game is old school, but right now he needs new chips. Eli is short-stacked.
Jean-Robert Bellande also in red.
Jean-Robert stands out in any crowd. In red, he looks like a fire alarm about to go off.
Hilton Laborda wearing the Brazilian flag, and no, that's not red.
Well, he's got so many chips, Hilton Laborda really could use a flag with pockets.
Currently, Laborda in 7th place. It is Phil Collins who has been setting the pace. He was the first to 8 million. Ben Lamb has been a fixture at or near the top and currently sits in 2nd place. And at our featured table, Phil Collins, the 2007 graduate from the University of South Carolina. He has increased his lead here on day 6. Absolutely everything going his way so far.
I keep talking about it. Young faces just about everywhere you look.
Canadian Jody Howe folds 6 tray. New to this table from Canterbury, England, with pocket queens on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole cam is Sam Holden.
He has a forensic science degree from the University of Kent. I believe they are the Thundering Herd.
This is his first World Series and his first cash. A raise to 60,000. King 5 for Mario Silvestri. He will lay it down. Fold it over to the big blind. Phil Collins 4, deuce of diamonds.
With the size of Collins' stack right now, virtually no hand is out of his range.
And just a min raise from Holden, so only 30,000 more, and Collins will stick around. Here's our flop. Deuce, tray, ace, a pair of deuces and a wheel draw for Collins. Holden still good with the pocket queens. He checks after Collins does. Turn card is another deuce. Trips for Collins to give him a huge lead.
Well, he has been aggressive quite often. It's one thing to be aggressive, it's another to run good. Collins has been running very good.
105,000 from the tournament chip leader. Holden, the second biggest stack at this table with just over 2 million, makes the call. The river card. King of clubs, not sure that will help Collins get any more chips out of Holden, who has pocket queens.
I wonder how Phil Collins decides which chips to bet off of his chip stack.
Decisions for the chip leader. He does bet 325,000 of them, though.
Holden thinking, you know, if I had just stuck with forensic science, my days would be a lot less stressful.
Now trying to figure out exactly what Collins is up to. Few have been successful in that so far. Holden does lay it down. Phil Collins padding his stack once again. He sits with almost 8.9 million.
Phil Collins looks dressed for success here on day 6.
It seems that chip leaders are a dime a dozen in the early stages of the main event, but with 113 players now remaining, the title of chip leader really means something. Phil Collins has assumed that role, and from what we've seen, Norman, this kid really knows what he's doing.
Some guys take the chip lead and implode, but then some guys take the chip lead and look as if they were born to lead in chips, like Phil Collins. Young, smart, good-looking, with a college degree and married to his college sweetheart. They just don't make them like this anymore. Frankly, he's so perfect, I just feel like roughing him up a bit. Hey, let the kid walk a mile in my shoes and see how long he keeps that chip lead.
Wow, that's a worse fate than getting check raised. Back at the feature table, Lance Steinberg open raised an early position to 66,000 with 10-9 of hearts, folded to Collins, who calls with Jack-9 suited.
Collins was on the South Carolina Law School wait list in the summer of '07, decided to see if poker could be a career. It turned out it could be a career, and he ended up turning down law school.
Everyone folds, heads up to the flop. 7-10 queen, middle pair for Steinberg in the black hat. Collins with an open-ended straight draw.
You know, Lon, I could have been a lawyer except for the law school thing.
Steinberg, a real estate developer in New York.
Owns a property management company that's also in my range professionally.
A bet of $122,000.
Before he acts, Collins always looks to me like he's about to dissect a frog.
Pro Erick Lindgren says one of the big improvements in Collins' game is his reading abilities.
Very careful chip selection.
He makes the call for $122,000. And the turn card in 8. Collins hits a queen high straight. Steinberg with a straight flush draw.
250.
250.
$250,000 from Steinberg.
Where did that turn card come from? It's like dropping a chicken into a fox den.
Collins has been running good.
All in.
And he raises Steinberg all in.
Got a ton of outs.
He does, and it's hard to back off now.
I'm behind, but
if Steinberg folds here, he'd have 22 big blinds left. Tough spot for the amateur.
Phil Collins has been putting so many opponents to this exact test.
I call.
Steinberg calls all in. With just one card to come, he needs help immediately.
About to be more. Oh, you do have hearts. Wow, it's a lot of outs.
Steinberg thought he'd have flush and straight outs, with the bottom end of the straight beat no good for him. With a jack, they would chop the pot with the same straight. Otherwise, Steinberg needs a heart to win or he's gone.
The river card, the deuce of diamonds, and that will do it. Steinberg, the latest victim of the Day 6 executioner, Phil Collins, who has cracked the 10 million chip mark.
Familiar scene, Collins shaking hands with a player he busts. He's either signaling he has 10 million chips or signaling he's busted 10 players in the last hour.
Steinberg finishes in 108th place after running into the buzzsaw of this main event, Mr. Phil Collins. All right, let's get over to the secondary table where bracelet winner Eli Elezra shoved with pocket tens for his last $474,000. Jared Vengren holds 2 black kings and perhaps Eli's ticket back to the big cash game nearby.
Vengren, 24 years old, younger brother of poker pro Matt Vengren.
All right, and now the flop. It is 8-ace-8. No help for Elezra there.
Eli's trying to will a 10 onto that board.
Turn card deuce of hearts. Vengren 1 card from knocking out a very tough opponent.
Eli Elezra hoping this is a victory cigar, but unless he gets a river 10, he might as well throw it away.
Another 8 on the river. Eli Elezra comes up short. There will be no victory cigar tonight. His second main event cash, the last one coming 7 years ago.
We lose one of the great personalities of the game.
Sorry, Eli.
It's all right.
A quiet exit for Elezra as we near the 100-player mark. Back at the Rio for the 2011 main event, 6,865 players started this journey on day 1. As we hit the midway point of day 6, just 105 remain. One of the more notable players remaining is Jean-Robert Bellande. His stack has taken a hit of late, but like we say, he's always got talking chips. At times, Jean-Robert celebrates how tough poker life can be, and as you see, Bellande's top 5 tournament cashes are not of the 7-digit variety. In order to put the 2011 main event at the top of his list, he'd need to finish 36th or better.
And the thing about Jean-Robert, all that money is gone, so as he says, he's broke but somehow living like a millionaire.
40-year-old Las Vegas poker pro with King Jack.
Jean-Robert mixing it up a lot from early position. His hand range seems to be wider than the Grand Canyon.
He does raise it up to 70,000 to Tri Huing with 8-4 of diamonds.
Speaking of wide hand ranges, here comes Huing.
Looks like he wants to play with Bellande. Recreational player from Canada makes the call. Hilton Laborda, 8-7 of spades.
You know, if everyone wore their national flag at the main event, it would feel like the opening ceremony of the Olympics.
Well, Brazil does have the Olympics in 2016. Laborda made the call, folded around to the big blind Paul Spitzberg, and he gives up his 6-deuce. So 3 players will see this flop. And it's King, Jack, Jack, bingo for Bellande. Jack's full.
Look at the percentages. Actually, I think there should be minus signs next to Huing and Laborda. How can Jean-Robert be broke when he sees flops like that?
And how can Jean-Robert get chips out of his opponents with that hand? He bets 130,000.
Under normal circumstances, that would end matters, but with this hat and that flag, who knows?
Tri Huing has chips in hand, maybe trying to represent exactly the hand that Bellande has. He makes the call.
Huing is going to try to take away the pot later. Good luck and right when you get work.
Now the man from Manaus, Brazil, in the Brazilian flag folds, so heads up to the turn. Got a real hand and a bluffer. Turn card, 4 of spades.
I'd say Jean-Robert would have been comfortable with almost any turn card.
Well, Bellande has 300,000 in orange cut out, but decides to check.
Wow, the Jean-Robert show. Brings the chips out to bet, then checks. Reverse tell. Usually, that's a sign of weakness.
Oh, man.
Huing's got him covered.
I call.
And Jean-Robert gets an instant double up.
Oh, with his little chip dance, Jean-Robert gets paid off. Got to give the big man credit.
How much do you have? 2 times what I had before the hand started. That's all I know.
It's like the old pool hustler comes out of Bellande.
That was a pretty good flop, huh? How much do you have?
1, 2, 3.
And then check.
Come on, baby. Let's get some.
Tri Huing's badly timed bluff is all gravy for Bellande.
Even a squirrel catches a nut sometimes. Come on, P, give me some. All right.
Well, tells may not have played a role in that hand. Picking up on your opponent's physical tendencies can be important for future hands.
In this video, Tri's going to demonstrate something for us that very few people are aware of. And it has to do with behaviors of the neck. Watch how he massages his neck, touches his neck, and then ventilates his neck. All indicative of struggling with something or weakness. Let's go through it. So you see him here, touches his neck, ventilates slightly, and this is a very accurate tell that tells the world, boy, I'm just not up to my game right here.
Here's an accurate tell I have on FBI guy Joe Navarro. If he's walking towards you, you should walk away.
To an outer table now, and there are fewer and fewer of them here on day 6. German poker pro Sebastian Rutenberg after the river is left with ace high. His opponent is Claudia Crawford, who turned jacks up. Her hand is now unbeatable. Action on Rutenberg. He checks.
Crawford, a diehard Alabama fan. If she makes the November 9, she says her rail will yell "Roll Tide" every time she wins a hand.
140,000 is the announced bet from Crawford.
Rutenberg has nothing.
Whether or not he believes Crawford, he's got nothing, and he does fold.
Roll Tide.
So Crawford with more than 2.2 million now at this table.
Remember, her fiance, Gabe Costner, finished 35th at last year's main event. Her goal, to surpass him.
Crawford, one of 3 women remaining in the main event. Amanda Musumeci has over $1 million up from her day 6 starting stack.
You know, she likes to shoot pool. If I didn't think so highly of her, I'd fix her up with Jean-Robert Bellande.
And there's Erica Motino sitting with about 750,000 chips, and amazingly, her boyfriend David Sands is still alive.
I'm no relationship expert, but I don't think it's a good idea for couples to play poker.
Sands in the gray hoodie just turned trip kings, and he has opponent Ben Logan drawing dead. Logan, of course, doesn't know that. He did flop a pair of 9s.
Sands a great online player with 12 World Series cashes.
Bets almost 200,000.
You play more than me now, right? 1.3?
something like that. Start the hand.
Logan finished 87th in the 07 main event. I don't think Logan's girlfriend plays poker. He looks smarter than that.
Former semi-pro basketball player.
I call him.
And that call sounds better than whispered sweet nothings to Sands. Sands has Logan drawing dead, going to the river. Queen of clubs. Now Sands must figure an amount that Logan would call.
Sands taught Erica Motino how to play poker. I wish more women would play poker, but if I were a poker pro, Lon, I guarantee you my girlfriend, fiance, or wife would not play poker. I don't let my wife, Tony, broadcast poker.
Sands started this hand with just shy of $2 million. There's 577,000 carefully put in the middle.
Degree of difficulty on that chip entry into the pot was 9.7.
Basically about 3 hands you can have to beat me. And a blocker to one of them.
Actually, I see 17 hands that might beat him.
It's pretty...
Logan would need about half his stack to make this call. He is tortured.
577. I can't tell if you're fake breathing here or real breathing here. Breathing a lot.
I think he's holding his breath because he lets his girlfriend play poker.
It's more fake to me. I'm gonna call.
And Sands will win it.
That's it.
Sands had him on the hook and he reeled him in.
That's one of the hands.
Nice hand, big pot.
Doc Sands with over 2.6 million chips now. Whether it was fake breathing or real breathing, those are very real chips in front of David Sands. He is officially a strong contender. The World Series of Poker has been held in Las Vegas since 1970. Each year it gets bigger. Nearly 7,000 entered the main event and a record number of entries overall, 58 events, nearly 76,000. Ben Lamb making headway as usual, up to almost 7 million. He has to be wary of Erick Lindgren on his left. The chips of one-time leader Daryl Jace are deserting him. He's dropped half his stack today.
Maybe he should have shaved, and texting don't help.
Perhaps he's downloading Phil Helmy's new poker app. Who knows? Want to mention that former Facebook exec Chamath Palihapitiya was knocked out recently in 101st place. And Fabio Sousa from Brazil is one of the new players at our feature table. And like many before him, he got a little lucky to make it this far. Sousa was facing a set of sixes on the flop and needed runner to stay alive. One runner came. And so did number two. Hilton Laborda was stunned, and Fabio Sousa's trip back to Brazil was put on hold.
He didn't want to go home yet. He's in the car repair business. The main event's a better place to be.
Action on Jody Howe under the gun on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Hole Cam. Ace-10.
I think Howe needs to loosen up. Go to a show, strike up the band. It's Vegas, baby. Enjoy yourself.
Born in Saskatchewan, lives in Delta, British Columbia now. Not a poker pro. He raises the action to 62,000.
And he seemed pained to raise the 62,000 chips there.
He may have left Saskatchewan because the Rough Riders could never win the Grey Cup. Not that they're that much better at BC. The Lions haven't done that much better. I'm just saying. Harder with pocket trays.
Harder no longer with the stack to play small pocket pairs.
Collins over 10 million now. Gives up his button, folded to the big blind. Sousa looks down at a red king and a black ace.
I will say this, Sousa looks like he's from out of town, but at least he's not wearing the Brazilian national flag. Come on, Jody, cheer up.
Sousa, 35 years old, from Rio de Janeiro.
Morning.
And he's all in.
That's not going to cheer up Jody.
No. Howe has Sousa covered, but gives up his hand, and the Brazilian will win that pot.
They both make the right play. Score one for Team Brazil.
Well, Team Brazil now just shy of 1 million chips after winning that hand. Fabio Sousa still hanging around the main event, but when he gets back to Brazil, he'll have his hands full and his feet.
Fábio Souza, tenho 35 anos, Rio de Janeiro, Brasil. Basicamente, a gente começou nesse ramo automotivo aproximadamente uns 17, 18 anos atrás. Meu irmão sempre quis montar alguma coisa, um comércio. Hoje, o grupo tem 7 lojas ao todo, onde trabalhamos eu, meus 3 irmãos e o meu pai também. O pôquer é uma coisa que inicialmente ele começou como um lazer e a cada dia que passa a gente vem se dedicando mais e obtendo os resultados. Na verdade, aqui no Brasil é meio complicado ainda a questão do pôquer. A aceitação do pôquer, ela não é tão grande perante a sociedade. Muitas vezes, muitas pessoas que não conhecem o pôquer acham que o pôquer é um jogo de azar, vincula a um jogo de cassino, onde não é, diferente do jogo, é um pôquer. Aqui é onde eu consigo tirar um foco um pouquinho do jogo e me preparar condicionalmente para aquelas longas maratonas, como exige o WSOP, o Main Event. Você joga 10, 12 horas de evento e se não tiver preparo físico e está com foco em dia, só pensando naquilo, dificilmente vai chegar.
Souza's right. When I cashed in a World Series event this year, Lon, I prepped by playing hours of video beach volleyball.
New to this table, meet Jerry Van Strydunk, 25-year-old Rochester, New York poker pro, ace queen of clubs.
He has an engineering degree from Cornell.
A raise to $70,000 from Van Strydunk.
You know, I'm a big bowling fan. We don't get nearly as many Ivy Leaguers in bowling as we do in poker.
You think not, huh? All right, fold it over to Souza in the big blind with King 8 of clubs. The Brazilian amateur calls for $40,000 more. And he will go heads up against the new player here, Jerry Van Strydunk. The flop, King 7-10, all diamonds, not the suit our players were looking for. Souza best with top pair. Van Strydunk with a Broadway draw. Souza checked.
Actually, Souza has an economics degree, so he matches up pretty well against the Cornell kid.
Yeah, he does. Van Strydunk with $85,000. Top pair for Souza.
Come on.
And he check raises all in, and Van Strydunk gives up immediately. Welcome to the table, Jerry.
The check raise shove. That's a scary board to move in on, but it turns out okay.
Souza using the full power of his less than average stack.
That's good, sir.
And he takes down a couple of hands and awaits his next victim. Welcome back to the 2011 World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. I'm Lon McCarran, here with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 100 players remaining, the average stack, just over 2 million chips. Let's get right to an outer table. Tony Hashem on the left and Lars Bonding on the right have each committed 75,000 chips to see a flop. Hashem leads with pocket sixes. Bonding trying to channel Doyle Brunson with 10 deuce. Here's the flop. 7, queen, jack, 2 clubs. Hashem sees 3 overcards to his sixes.
Hashem trying to complete the improbable brother-brother double of winning the main event. Only 99 players left to beat now.
He checked to Bonding, who picked up a flush draw.
Bonding finished 273rd in the 06 main event. Tough, tough player.
Bonding bets 172,000.
Tony Hashem looks a bit bothered by the bet. He might think he's ahead, and he is, but he might not want to take the risk here, especially out of position.
And with a much smaller stack than Bonding. Hashem doesn't look too confident and folds his pocket sixes.
The semi-bluff works, and Lars Bonding drags a pot while barring one of David Bach's masseuses.
So Lars Bonding takes another pot as he approaches 4 million chips. Elsewhere, Mars Callahan re-raised the pre-flop action with his pocket tens to 378,000. His opponent, Brian Yoon, has ace-queen off. Now he re-raises Callahan all in.
Raise all in. 1 second.
Mars, of course, has a flair for the dramatic.
Very good.
Every decision so difficult for this amateur.
Yoon, also an LA guy, but he's a student at UCLA.
Oh my.
This is so sick. It's so sick. If I make this play, this could be so ill.
I think my man Mars is overstating the sickness of this. I don't think this hand has any symptoms of any illness. Mars committed a lot of chips pre-flop and now might not want to commit any more.
He's ahead right now, but how far does he want to take the pocket tens?
Maybe Mars can cast Yoon for his next silent movie.
Why are you trying to steal my pot from me?
Wow, now this sounds like Macbeth, Act 2, Scene 3. Mars is deliberate and pretty darn entertaining to me.
And he tosses in the tens.
Mars folds a big hand.
Yoon will take that pot.
Yeah, I would touch Ben Lamb for good luck.
Well, Mars Callahan has made a lot of correct decisions to make it this far. The bottom line is he'll be here to play the next hand.
Nice steal.
If he had called all in, well, who knows what would have happened. In the fourth $1,500 no-limit hold'em event of the summer, chess and backgammon wizard Arkady Sinis became the third Ukrainian-born bracelet winner at the 2011 World Series of Poker.
Arkady Sinis, I just won my first bracelet of World Series of Poker, 2011.
And the state of North Dakota had its very first champion in World Series history when Mitch Schock took down the $2,500 mixed pot limit hold'em in Omaha event. It has been a memorable World Series in 2011. Veteran pro Artie Cobb cashed in the main event after last cashing here in 1976. And of course, Phil Hellmuth notched 3 second-place finishes, a dubious record to say the least.
The poker brat with a record 11 bracelets, but now with 9 runner-up finishes in his World Series career.
To an outer table, a man from Belize is Badi Bunara, who went all in with 8-7 of hearts. He's standing, though, where he can't see the board, but he trails the pocket kings of Russian Andrei Patachuk. And here's the flop and a straight for Bunara. My goodness.
Bunara does not know what the board is.
Turn card gives Patachuk a set to make it interesting.
If the board pairs, Bunara is gone.
The river card is a blank. Bunara will survive.
Full house.
Brian Devonshire just told Bunara that Patachuk made a full house.
Good luck, guys.
Good game, man. Nice play.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
He's saying his goodbyes. Badi, who prefers to be called Bob, is coming back. He still doesn't know he has survived.
That's a very good flop. What happened?
You had a sweat card on the turn.
Oh, I won. I won. Yeah. You know good, man.
He really didn't know.
I won. Flopped a straight. 4, 5, 6. Whoa!
I felt really bad about teasing you.
You're not good.
This is the flop, and I'm like,
no. Good. Wow. Flop the straight, man.
Patachuk making sure Moscow is indeed 6,500 miles from Belize.
Less than half the chip average, but Bunara has a second life, doing his best to represent his home country.
I am here to get to the final table, and I'm playing this tournament for the country of Belize and for all the poker players in Belize. Obviously, I've been playing cards more than a lot of people that are playing right now. I've been playing my gut feeling, my cards. I never double question my gut feeling. It's the difference between life and death in a tournament. I'm very relaxed, very calm, very cool. On the break, I go out and go smoke a cigar, half a cigar, come back.
Bunara was born in Lebanon. He's the part owner of a poker room in Belize City and plays there twice a week.
The payout now up to almost $65,000. We're under 100 players. Christian Harder, second to act at this table with pocket tens, makes a raise to $65,000.
At 49, Bunara is one of the older players left. You look around the room and it's mostly 20-somethings.
Jody Howe gives up his hand. Sam Holden with pocket sevens.
22-year-old, decent hand on the button.
Raise in front of him from Harder. And the Englishman folds his pocket pair. Harold Wasson with pocket fours shoves.
James Lipton pushes.
Then Stridunk with queens moves all in. Back to Harder. He folds.
Nines.
Tens.
So heads up, Wasson in severe trouble. His 4s against the queens of Stridunk.
The real estate broker had the worst pocket pair, and he was surrounded by land sharks. Wasson at risk.
Here's the flop, 5-king tray. No help to Wasson.
It's a lot of black small cards.
James Lipton, though, about to be evicted from the Poker Players studio.
Turn card now. Wasson picks up a lot of outs with an up and down straight draw.
Yeah, a lot more outs for Wasson. He needs a deuce, 4, or 7 to stay alive.
It's a 10, and Wasson is done. And ouch, says Christian Harder, who folded 10s.
Yeah, that's bad luck for Harder. If Wasson folds pocket 4s as he should have, Harder likely would end up calling Van Stridunk and rivering a set.
A 96th place finish for the amateur.
You don't know that I'm a nit these days. Yeah. Well, that's pretty lucky for me.
And Stridunk with almost 2.7 million chips.
I'm all in.
All in.
Nines.
Tens.
4 pocket pairs pre-flop. Van Stridunk's was best to start and best to finish. Welcome back. Top stack Phil Collins realizes there are elements of luck that always play a role in no-limit hold'em tournaments.
There's a lot of luck that is involved that people don't really see. Having a big hand it's very convenient when somebody else has a big hand. That's a factor of luck that people don't really see. But in the long run, the better players are going to win. So I try not to think about how well I've been running or how lucky I've been. Just focus on playing the best you can.
In the long run, I know the better players are going to win because I have never won.
Each day, Phil Collins has increased his stack. Like everyone else, he started day one with 30,000, and right now, he is just under 10 million chips.
Collins says staying relaxed and staying in the moment have gotten him this far.
All right, at this Phil Collins headline featured table with the button, Mario Silvestri min raised with ace-8 to 60,000. Action on Collins in the big blind with pocket deuces.
All in.
Collins re-raises, Silvestri all in.
Contrasting stacks. The chip leader can push here with well less than 10% of his stack. Silvestri has about 25 big blinds left.
Silvestri has seen the Collins run good up close tonight.
You usually hate to hang your tournament life on a weak ace, but you gotta gamble sometime. Let's see what Mario Silvestri wants to do.
A call.
Silvestri calls for his tournament life, and he'll hope to catch something to take a small bite out of the big stack of Phil Collins.
A tough call for Silvestri, but I think he'll take a race at this point.
Phil Collins hoping to make Silvestri his latest victim of this prosperous day 6. All right, here we'll see a flop. 5-4-8. Silvestri takes the lead right away with a pair of 8s.
Well, Phil Collins about to absorb what amounts to a fender bender.
Turn card. 9 of hearts. Silvestri a card away from a double up.
Only a deuce would send Mario Silvestri home.
The river card is an ace. Silvestri rivers aces up. He now has 55 big blinds.
Collins still with the multi-level office and retail complex over there.
Kind of looked like a 2 for a second.
It did look like a 2 for a second.
Silvestri shows the world Collins can be beat. To our secondary table now. Action on Hilton Laborda. He has the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand.
I've got to play along with a guy who wears a flag as a cape. Thanks for nothing. Plus, if this guy acted any slower, he'd be Hume Cronin.
Laborda now does act. A raise to 72,000.
A raise from middle position. I know nothing about the man. I know nothing about Brazil. And to be perfectly blunt, I know next to nothing about No Limit Hold'em. I'll put him on C. Ace, Queen, off.
All right, over to the big blind. Pius Heinz with King 10 of spades. And a poker pro from Cologne, Germany makes the call.
I'll say this. It's a well-groomed beard.
All right, here's the flop. Jack 8-8, 2 spades. Heinz picks up a flush draw.
Laborda either flopped a full house, a gut shot, or nothing.
Heinz checks. Laborda checks.
He checked. I'll go with nothing. B or C.
10 of diamonds. Heinz pairs his 10. Pius Heinz now reaching for chips. Something from each stack. It looks like 70,000.
Now Laborda either has that full house, or he made his straight, or he has nothing.
That's your answer?
No, I gotta wait to see what he does.
Laborda with a raise. to 163,000.
Is Laborda capable of bluffing at this point? I think a man who walks around all day wearing a flag as a cape is capable of anything. I think he's using Heinz's aggression against him, puts Heinz on a weak hand, and is bluffing this baby. And I would say the same under oath in a court of law. He's got 6-5 or ace-queen.
Heinz, known for his aggression, makes the call for 93,000 more.
Heinz could have repopped it there if he had my read, and I trust my read.
Okay. The river card with over 500,000 chips in the pot. 5 of hearts. Heinz misses his flush. Left with 10s and 8s, and he checks. Laborda sees a door open.
And I'll tell you, Laborda usually doesn't act this quickly, so I definitely think he's bluffing.
448,000 is the bet.
Oh, he's bluffing. Come on, man. Look at him, Pius. He's wearing a flag like it's a dinner jacket. Call him. There you go. Get a good look at him. He's a little kapushka.
Sorry, guys.
Your 10s are good. I feel so strongly about this, I'm willing to put up half the 448,000 chips. Call him. 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 Call him.
Heinz folds, and he folded the best hand. Laborda had 6-5 and wins the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand.
He should have called him. Lon, my name is Norman Chad, and I don't need a book of tells to tell me what I know. Score it!
Pius Heinz was fooled. My man Norman Chad was not. Hilton Laborda with almost 4.4 million chips now. For more information on German and Brazilian players at the World Series, visit ESPN.com/poker. At an outer table in the middle sits Canadian poker pro Cyril Mitzi, who flopped 6s full of 9s against unfortunate Russian pro Alexander Mozhnikov, who flopped trip 9s and ace fell on the turn.
Mitzi with his third main event cash in 5 years, playing well.
He bets 365,000 with his boat.
Mitzi's got Mozhnikov in miserable shape here. But if I were the 25-year-old Russian pro, I'd think I've got Mitzi nailed on this one.
Okay, I'm win.
Mozhnikov raises Mitzi all in. And Cyril calls all in with his full house.
Mitzi at risk and way ahead. He's got to dodge a 9, an ace, or a jack.
The river card. Oh, it's an ace! Mitzi's boat counterfeited and sunk by the Russian.
A brutal knockout blow. Wow.
Mitzi knocked out of the main event in 95th place. Mozhnikov does the deed. Cyril Mitzi banking on having nearly 3 million chips, but now with 0, resulting in a bitter walk to the payout cage. Catching up with Erick Lindgren after the turn, the newlywed leads with a pair of 7s and a flush draw against the ace high of Brian Yoon. Action on the UCLA student Yoon. And Yoon bets over half the pot, 355,000.
Yoon, who is friends with Pius Heinz, is going to posture.
Yoon with the bigger of these two stacks.
The main event, just a pit of despair for Erick Lindgren for years. And who would have thunk when he ended day one with just 3,700 chips, he'd still be here among the last 100 standing.
And Erick makes the call, though he seems a bit uneasy to commit about a quarter of his remaining chips. The river card, another 7. That will allow Erick to breathe a little easier as he rivers trips. Yoon checks.
Lindgren was not a believer on the turn, and now he gets rewarded on the river. He thought he had the best hand before. Now he knows he has the best hand.
440?
Erick bets 440,000, almost 1/3 of the pot. And Yoon with just ace high.
We'll say bye-bye.
Yep. How quickly is the question? He does retreat quickly, and Erick Lindgren will take another pot.
Erick Lindgren trying to turn his first main event cash into something really special.
Yoon will lick his wounds. Lindgren will celebrate quietly. Another good moment in a satisfying day 6 so far. So Erick has had a bumpy main event. As you mentioned, just 3,700 chips and nearly out on day 1, but he persevered, working his stack back into contention, and he credits Phil Hellmuth and how he worked the short stack as motivation to come back. A check on the remaining women. Claudia Crawford with nearly 2 million. Musumeci and Motino still in it, both over 1 million. Over to Crawford now.
Come on, have pocket kings, please. Oh, why can't you bet the flop? My God. No, I boss. I wanted you to have pocket kings.
Well, looks like she just won a pot from the small blind, but did not get much action.
Good times, good
Oh,
times.
can he bet the flop? How can you not continuation bet that flop? Come on. German, you needed to have his head.
A small pot for Crawford, but any pot in the main event is a good pot. Speaking of pocket kings, that's what Hollywood's Mars Callahan is trying to overcome. He's all in with a flop pair of jacks. J.P. Kelly has the killer kings.
Kelly, a two-time bracelet winner. The Mars Callahan show about to close.
Turn card, the 8 of diamonds, no help to Callahan.
Nothing against J.P. Kelly, but I'm going to try to script an ace or a jack for Mars Callahan here on the river.
Callahan needs it now. The river card, the 10 of spades, and Mars Callahan's incredible main event has finished its run.
It didn't end up being the feel-good hit of the summer with a happy ending, but what a great run for film director Mars Callahan.
J.P. Kelly over 4 million chips now. 94th place for Mars Callahan.
He still doesn't know how to wear a baseball cap, but he can make movies and he can play poker.
He wins almost $65,000 as J.P. Kelly stacks the last of Callahan's chips.
J.P. loves the smell of Hollywood money.
As Callahan built his chip stack, you could see the absolute joy in his eyes. He had lasted so long in the main event, the man who writes and tells stories became one himself at the 2011 main event. As the field shrinks, the tension gets thicker here inside the Amazon room. Back to the featured table. The short stack at this table is that man, Christian Harder, with 705,000 chips. It's folded around to him. Ace-10 off.
65.
Harder makes a raise to 65,000.
65.
His buddy and chip leader, Phil Collins, folds over to Rob Colbin with pocket jacks.
21-year-old from Sweden, needs a haircut, needs a new t-shirt, needs a better baseball cap.
All in.
And he needs chips. He moves all in with the second shortest stack at this table. Fabio Souza with king-queen off.
I don't think this is the time or place for king-queen off.
And Souza does release the hand. Queen-9 for Howe into the muck. The re-raise back to Harder now. He would need all his chips to make this call.
Harder in a tight spot here. 20-odd big blinds left.
Insane.
I doubt he loves ace-10 here for all his chips.
I call.
But you're right, that was a tough spot. Harder does make the call all in, and he'll need to catch something to overcome the pocket jacks.
Not much has gone right here for Christian Harder on day 6. He was frustrated, and I guess he hoped he was racing here against Colbin.
All right, here's the flop. A set for Colbin, but a gut shot for Harder.
Well, that's not good. Harder with just a gut shot now.
All right, the turn card now. Harder at risk is a king, and he's double gutted now.
Well, double gutter gives Harder double the chance to stick around. Harder has to have a queen or a 9.
And the river card is another jack. Colbin shows how to make jacks work, all of them, and quads will send Christian Harder to the rail.
I'm a big Christian Harder fan, but he never got anything going today.
Christian Harder gone in 92nd place, says goodbye to his buddy Phil Collins as he wins almost $65,000. Colbin nearly doubles his own short stack to over $1.6 million. Elsewhere, Ben Logan's on the short end of an all-in matchup.
King Jack suited versus Ace King suited. Don't anybody say they folded a jack. I don't know. This is the second time I've used my one time on a jack.
Logan trying to run down Owen O'D's ace-king suited. OD on the right in the blue.
Do I have a second to tweet, or are we about ready to film?
OD, a 26-year-old Irish pro. His father, Donica, has made 2 main event final tables.
OD trying to score the knockout. Here's the flop. 7-10-6. OD still ahead with ace high.
Logan hoping to pair his jack.
OD trying to get rid of Logan. 8 of spades. Logan picks up a gut shot.
Need a 9 or a jack?
You heard him, a 9 or a jack.
One time.
One time.
The river card is the queen of hearts. And Logan knocked out of the main event.
Look, guys. Hell of a ride.
OD wondering why these Americans are so loud.
Ben Logan kept plugging away, but he ran out of time, and ultimately Chips goes out of 91st place. He also picks up almost $65,000. As Logan makes his exit, we check in one last time with the recently eliminated Mars Callahan. He's got the cash.
We're going to Disneyland.
Let's go over to Kara Scott, who's with current chip leader Phil Collins.
See you guys next year.
Phil, you had an amazing day so far. Describe to me how you get to 10 million in chips.
Well, I started the day with 4 million, and right off the bat, I had somebody 4-bet call me with ace jack when I had ace king, and I faded a bunch of outs on the flop, and that put me at 6.5. I got aces 3 times today. I haven't had them in 3 days. I was hoping they'd start coming in bunches, and they did. I eliminated Joe Cheong when he had ace queen suited when I had aces, and it's running really well.
Do you feel like you're in charge of the table now?
I do, but I don't think it's necessarily anything that I'm doing. Whenever you have that big of a chip stack and you play okay, you're in charge of the table.
What do you think your image is at the table?
Loose aggressive. I think a couple people aren't sure what I'm doing, but a couple of them are pretty good online players who we have history with. They're familiar with my game, and they know what I'm capable of. So,
thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem.
For many years, he was the best player never to win a bracelet. Once again, he tries to remove the title of best to never win a bracelet. Then he was the best player never to cash in the main event.
A stellar year, but another short stay at the main event for Lindgren.
This year, Erick Lindgren is quieting the critics as he makes his bid for the November 9.
Excited. Well, I believe this was my 10th main event. I had never made day 3 before.
He may be in unfamiliar territory, but Lindgren knows he is so close to turning his first main event cash into a seat at the final table.
You want to be the champ? It's a dream I've had since 1995 to win the main event.
With the field whittled down to 90 players, it's time to ask, is this Erick Lindgren's year?
Hallelujah.
Welcome back to the Rio for Day 6 coverage of the World Series of Poker Main Event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. 6,865 players started this main event odyssey, and we're now down in double digits. The talented Alan Cunningham still has a seat.
Why shouldn't he still have a seat? He's Alan Cunningham.
Tony Hashem trying to do what his brother Joe did in 05, win it all.
Wow, so poker could have its own version of Peyton and Eli Manning.
Ben Lamb still among the leaders.
If Ben Lamb has a brother, I'm hoping he doesn't play poker.
And with 90 players remaining, there's the chip leader, 26-year-old Phil Collins.
I can see it coming in the air tonight, Lon.
No leaderboard is complete at the main event without a Ben Lamb sighting. He is in second. Collins is in first. Americans make up the top 5 spots. Before this level started, Kara Scott caught up with Erick Lindgren.
Erick is a very patient man. I caught him mid-tweet, and he's going to talk to us. You've had an incredible comeback this tournament. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I started day 2 with 3,700, so I was super short and kind of fought back. And then today I only had 492, and now I've got like 2.8, so I'm wildly excited.
And coming up to the feature table now as well. What's your table like?
You know, I've been waiting all summer to play with this Ben Lamb character now. So it'll be exciting. I think we each know where we are in hands, so it'll be a better barometer than a lot of these guys that I've never met or played with before. So I'm excited to play with Ben, and we'll see how it goes.
I see you have the golf hat on. How's your golf game these days?
Yeah, I'm always working on the golf game. Anxious for this to be over, hopefully final 9, and then I can get out of the golf course.
Good luck out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Kara.
You'll see Erick's name in the 4th spot. He is 4th in chips at the feature table, but he's got position on the big stack, Ben Lamb, who will be directly to his right. Matt Salzberg is a Hollywood producer with just over 1 million chips. We'll keep our eye on him and all the remaining 90 players.
And we should keep our eye on John Paul Kelly at this feature table. British pro J.P. Kelly. He's got 2 bracelets, and he's got a ton of talent.
He's on the button. The blinds at 20 and 40,000 with a 5,000 chip ante. The current payout just over $76,000.
Day 6 is a grind, Lon. You're exhausted, and you think the November 9 is close, but you really can't taste it yet. Too much poker left.
$8.7 million to our champion come November. Almost 206 million chips in play. J.P. Kelly has over 4.3 million of them. He folds his button to the small blind Brian Yoon with pocket 4s, and he raises to 100,000. Ben Lamb in the big blind with 10-8 off. And Lamb will call for 60,000 more. And here's the flop, heads up. Jack 6-9. Yoon still has the best hand, but not favored. Lamb with an up and down straight draw and 2 overs to Yoon's pocket pair. 110,000 from Yoon.
Standard continuation bet from Yoon. That might trigger the standard I'm Ben Lamb and you're not semi-bluff raise.
We have seen Ben Lamb do that a lot. He has been very successful with that, and here it comes, a raise to 305,000.
Brian Yoon, say hello to Ben Lamb.
And say goodbye to his cards, and Lamb will collect another pot.
Pot seems so much smaller without yellow chips. I don't even want this pot.
That's how Ben Lamb runs. When he has a draw, they fold. When he has the goods, they call.
Tonight, we get an up-close and personal look at 2 of the biggest stories of the 2011 main event. Erick Lindgren was down to just 3,700 chips at the end of day 1, and here he is on day 6, back in the hunt. To Erick's right is Ben Lamb, who was on the World Series heater of a lifetime. From day 1, Norman, he's been in total command, winning pots and doing it with a smile.
It's hard to choose between Erick Lindgren and Ben Lamb. One was Player of the Year in 08, the other might be Player of the Year in 2011. Lindgren is as well respected and well liked as anyone in the poker community. I love the guy, even though I'm not sure he loves me back. Lamb, meanwhile, is sort of a younger version of Lindgren, great player, and like E-Dog, he's got a million friends who root for him. I guess if they get in a pot together, I'll hope they chop it.
Lamb has been chopping up all comers since the World Series began. Lindgren has just 26,000 in cashes in addition to this main event. Ben mentioned the pot looks smaller. That's because the yellow chips worth 1,000 are no longer needed. We still have the orange and greens, but the new purple chip in play worth 100,000. At an outer table on the left, one-time chip leader Daryl Jace all in for his last 325,000 with ace-5 of diamonds. On the right with ace-king, John Hewitt going for the knockout. Here's the flop, and Hewitt hits kings up.
Well, I asked him to shave, I told him to shave, I implored him to shave, and look what's happened to Daryl Jace. 5% chance of survival now.
All right, looking for help. The turn card brings it, a flush draw for Jace.
Well, so now the unshaven Jace can stay alive with any diamond other than the king.
The river card is an ace, and that's the last river card Daryl Jace will see at this World Series. He finished in the top 200 in 2009. Here in the 2011 main event, Daryl Jace finishes in 89th place.
Bad news travels fast. Jace texting his barber to tell him he's on his way.
Hewitt over 4 million. Nearby, Claudia Crawford open raise with King Jack to 85,000. Action now to Ryan Linehan with the glasses and beard. This New Orleans poker pro holds ace king, and he 3-bets it to 265,000 from the big blind.
Crawford has gotten herself here with aggression, but she has gotten herself in trouble at times with aggression.
Born in North Dakota, raised in Alabama, lives in Mississippi, and she makes the call.
Yeah, she's a 26-year-old pro now living in Biloxi. She'll see a flop.
Linehan starting the hand with over 6 million, born in Alabama, lives now in New Orleans. And these two will see a flop. 5 deuce queen, neither pairs up. Linehan still best with ace king.
Linehan rented a house with 13 friends this summer in Las Vegas during the World Series. One of his housemates, David Diaz, won a bracelet.
Linehan, first to act, and has chips in hand. 360,000.
Crawford also got no piece of that flop, but she's not backing down yet.
We have not seen her back down unless she is really pushed to the wall. And here is a raise now from Crawford to 760,000.
1 million.
Linehan putting his left hand up to steady his neck. According to Joe Navarro, that is a sign of weakness.
He is not paired up, but he has the bigger stack and puts Crawford all in. And she quickly folds.
I guess pushing all in is usually a sign of strength.
Strength, yeah.
Nice play by Linehan.
So Ryan Linehan with a wry smile takes a bunch of Crawford's chips. He's up to 7.3 million.
We have 3 queens.
I had you eat.
We saw Claudia get into a pre-flop raising war and lose against Pius Heinz on day 5 when neither had anything. Here again, she had the right idea, but had to yield to Ryan Linehan.
There's poker pro Frank Sinopoli at another table. He's all in with pocket kings against Nelson Robinson, who woke up with aces. There's the flop, queen, trace 6. Nothing there for Sinopoli.
Sinopoli, a 39-year-old from Hollywood, Florida. Robinson, a 25-year-old from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
He's going to put the king of clubs down right now.
Turn card now. Now half right. It's the 9 of clubs. Sinopoli down to his last chance.
I'm not sure if we see more players go all in and bust with pocket kings or ace king. It's close. Sinopoli needs a king.
The river card, and there it is!
Yeah! That's the one time baby! That's the one time when we're looking for one time, baby!
Sinopoli finds new life with the bad beat.
If there's an international body that governs poker, all one time should be recorded and everyone should get 1. That's Frankie Sinopoli's 1.
Robinson loses with aces.
That was my only one time in the tournament.
Sometimes one time is all it takes to get the ball rolling.
I knew it was coming though.
Erick Lindgren cracked the bracelet seal in 2008.
I'll give you all that just to quit.
Raise all in.
I go.
And there it is. Erick Lindgren with the straight. He's rubbing his hair. He is a World Series of Poker champion. He's got his bracelet. That was the scene 3 years ago. Erick Lindgren defeating Justin Bonomo in the $5,000 mixed hold'em event.
In 2006, Lindgren lost heads up to Jeff Madsen here at the World Series. Madsen went on to be Player of the Year, and Erick had to wait until 2008 for his first bracelet.
Back to our featured table, J.P. Kelly lays down his hand, folded over to Ben Lamb with ace-9 off. He has 8 million chips now, a raise to 90,000. Lindgren with ace-king of spades.
That's ace-king suited, Lon.
And with that hand, just a call to Mike DiGilio from Port St. Lucie, Florida, on the button with king-10 off.
I've been to Port St. Lucie twice, Lon. Do not recall either visit.
DiGilio has almost tripled his stack on this day. He has just over 2 million and announces himself to these 2 bracelet winners with a raise to 245,000. Salzburg gives up his suited 9-6. So back now to Ben Lamb.
DiGilio trying for the squeeze play here. Figures Lamb raised light. Maybe Lindgren called with a marginal hand, and maybe DiGilio can steal this baby.
Lamb is the one caught in the vice in the middle.
Well, he did raise light.
And he was the original raiser and does drop out. Now to Lindgren with the suited ace-king.
How much do you have?
Started with 2.1 minus the blinds.
Lindgren, as he mentioned, played the ace-king with a different strategy, and because he played it that way, this opened the door for DiGilio to 3-bet, but it might be the wrong door.
Raise to 680.
There you go. Lindgren fires back with a 4-bet to 680,000.
Yeah, E-Dog might have figured out the squeeze play, and DiGilio might be the one squeezed out of here.
Yeah, DiGilio with some bad timing there. And he folds.
Glad me with the 10s over there.
I think I'm crazy enough to re-raise the 2 10s there.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Uncontested chips are always the best chips.
Harry, my man.
Eric springs the trap and takes the pot. This past summer, he sprung the question and won something else.
Erick Lindgren, my nickname is E-Dog, and I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. 2 days before the World Series started, I got married to the former Erica Schoenberg, and then we popped right out here and played the 25K event 2 days later. I have a baby boy on the way, so super excited. He should be playing poker by about age 3.
Text the wife.
It's a huge lifestyle change, deciding whether to stay in Vegas, maybe move to California. Don't really know, but just very, very ready to be a dad.
Eric's boy will be the only 3-year-old poker-playing, golf-playing fantasy owner west of the Mississippi.
Eric's friend Alan Cunningham was at risk trying to outlast Canadian Marc-Andre Ledoucier on Alan's right.
There's no way you can hold again. I'll get back to where I was after I won the last time.
Alan racing with his pocket 4s. Ledoucier picks up a double belly buster.
It's way better than an ace or a queen.
Pocket 4s in a lot of danger, though. Cunningham now an underdog to survive.
Turn card, 6 of clubs. Cunningham fades trouble so far.
Now, a pair, or anything under it. Hey.
River card, 5 of diamonds, and Cunningham survives with the 4s.
He's giving us some races, or else I would have been out of this tournament a long time ago.
How did he just dodge 14 outs 2 times? He's Alan Cunningham. Jeez, go, my man.
But Cunningham with a lot of work to do, sitting with just 1.1 million chips. 86 players are left. The next pay bump comes with 81 players remaining. Swedish pro Per Lend on the right with pocket tens is facing about a 465,000 from Israeli pro Guy Gorilik holding pocket kings. The flop came all undercards to both of their hands. Lind has a 2nd place on the EPT and a 3rd place on the WPT.
All in.
And announces all in. He's got the bigger stack. Now what to do for Gorilik?
What does Joe Navarre say about holding your head in your hands?
Scared.
What does Joe Navarre say about mumbling to yourself? What does Joe Navarre say about slumping back in your chair and looking skyward? And what does Joe Navarre say about shaking your head?
Gorilik folds and shows his kings. Lind responds by revealing one of his cards.
Well, to recap, Gorilik folded the better hand. He showed it. His opponent then showed his inferior hand, and it was all on TV. Ouch.
Lind almost up to 5 million now. Gorilik, after folding the kings, drops to about 1.5 million, and he will carry that nasty vision with him a long time. Over now to Russian pro Alexander Moznikov, sitting with ace-7 suited and 5 times the chip stack of Belize's Bob Bunara, who pushed all in pre-flop with ace-king off.
The last time we saw Bunara, he flopped a straight with 8-7 all in and beat kings.
Moznikov says all in will translate to call to put Bunara at risk.
Well, the last time we saw Moznikov, he busted Sorel Mitzi on a bad beat.
So Bunara way ahead, dominating Moznikov. Bunara at risk.
He generally does not like to watch the board when he's all in.
And here is the flop, and kings up for Bunara. Another great flop for him. Oh, and he's got an overzealous rail.
Moznikov now would need running 7s to knock out Bunara.
The turn card, an 8 of diamonds. Bunara will double up.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. Go, Belize. Yeah, Russia. Give up them chips. Yeah. Don't mess with Belize, Russia.
Don't mess with Belize, Russia? Is that a new t-shirt?
A7. A7. A7.
Ace king.
A7.
Easy.
Oh. A7.
You're playing poker.
My God, you play a disgusting hand, eh?
Moznikov handling the peanut gallery the right way.
He provides the double up for Bunara.
Sorry. He's talking out of place. Kick him out.
That's right. I'm glad for double up.
I'm talking to you.
Double, Belize.
Belize is still in the game. Back inside the Amazon room, Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. At an outer table, Claudia Crawford has her last 1 million chips in the pot.
Good call.
She's open-ended, but Guillaume Dark Horse pocket 7s can knock her out.
Game. I need an 8, a queen, a jack, or a king.
4 and 6.
All right, running 9, 10. Whatever. It's fine. All right, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to hit this.
Well, she's sitting down like she's going to stick around. She is the favorite.
Turn card 5 of hearts does nothing for Crawford's chances.
And Crawford now a 2-to-1 dog to stick around. Dark Horse needs to dodge a king, queen, jack, or 8 to knock her out.
You're torturing me here.
The river card. Another 5. Claudia Crawford sent to the exit door by Guillaume Dark Horse pocket pair.
Nice plan. Good call.
She was aggressive and impressive. Great run by Claudia Crawford.
Dark Horse over 5 million now. Crawford out in 85th place.
I shipped it all in and he called it 2 7s.
You're ahead.
I know, I got my money in good. I'm fine with it. I couldn't bet and him, just call and then only have a little bit left to bet the turn.
The turn would be weird. So
I just have to shove it. I got 950,000 to pick up 400,000.
You gotta learn to run better.
I'm the national player.
You went pretty deep, though. Congratulations.
Okay.
So with Crawford's departure, 2 women are left in the main event. Amanda Musumeci.
East Coast bred, but mostly in Las Vegas now. Amanda has had a lot of online success.
And Erica Motino.
Another East Coast transplant to Las Vegas. Very little live experience, but she does have some online results.
And she is sitting in seat 1 at our featured table just to the dealer's left. With pocket jacks, Brian Yoon opens for 90,000 under the gun, folded over to Erick Lindgren. And Eric has the Jack Links beef jerky wildcard hand.
I'm 1 for 3 in marriages, 8 for 20 this year in the wild card hand, so I'm actually a little better on wild card hands.
Not doing too badly in either realm, actually.
Well, Eric generally likes to see a lot of flops and play small ball.
Eric will re-raise, though, to 220,000.
He's under the gun +2. I'm going to put Eric on ace-king, but playing it differently than he did last time, this time with the 3-bet.
Yeah, Eric was a little sly playing the ace-king last time. Folded over to J.P. Kelly in the big blind. He lays it down. So the re-raise back to Brian Yoon, the UCLA senior-to-be.
How much you start with there?
2.8-ish.
2.8-ish.
What do you got?
I cover. Like 3.3 or so, 3.2.
Eric says the only time he ever was dead broke, he was 21 years old, working as a prop at Casino San Pablo in Northern California. He borrowed $500, lived in a hotel for 3 weeks, and made the money last.
Yoon will come along for 130,000 more.
Lindgren grew up in Bernie, California. Yoon in Torrance, California.
All right, so heads up, flop between the pocket jacks and the wild card hand. King 7 deuce, no improvement to Yoon's jacks, but he hates to see the king out there, no doubt. He checks.
Lindgren likely would keep firing here with any of his possible hands. It feels like ace-king, top pair, top kicker to me.
260,000 is the bet from Erick Lindgren.
Yoon, the original pre-flop raiser under the gun.
And then called Erick Lindgren's 3-bet. And now Yoon with the check call.
Well, Yoon will call with pocket jacks and trust his read. If I were 21, I wouldn't trust my read unless I was Sigmund Freud.
All right, the turn card. Tray of diamonds gives Yoon a flush draw.
And Yoon stuck with non-refundable pocket jacks.
Not true. He checks again.
So Eric still with top pair or bottom pair or flush now or pocket tens. My guess is E, he has a baby boy on the way.
Well, we know you're right about that.
550.
And there is the bet of 550,000 from Eric.
I'm not going to lie to you, Lon. I'm sticking with ace-king, but if my life depended on me being right in this spot, something tells me I'd be dead real soon.
Yoon with the jacks and a flush draw.
That's a tricky spot for Yoon. Pocket jacks are tricky. He doesn't even get multiple choice to look at.
Brian Yoon lays down his hand. Erick Lindgren with ace-deuce to win the Jack Links Beef Jerky wild card hand.
Erick Lindgren's a bluffing father-to-be. I should have known. Hang another L in my locker.
A gain of nearly 600 grand for Lindgren, thanks mostly to Brian Yoon. As Yoon drops to about 2.9 million. For more on the World Series of Poker, visit ESPN.com/poker. Going over to the secondary table now, Brazil's Hilton Laborda has the biggest stack there. Pius Heinz with about 2.9 million. Jean-Robert Bellande with over 1.1 million, but his stack not as impressive as it once was.
Jean-Robert needs a shot of Jean-Robert.
Yeah, look at him with his head in his hand. All right, action beginning on Bellande. 6-5 off into the muck to Jared Vengren, a poker pro, spending a lot of time in Canada to play online poker. It's a long way from his Texas home. Pocket nines.
He's got a political science degree from Concordia University in Montreal. I believe they are the Thundering Herd.
He'll open raise to 90,000. Tree Wing lays it down to Hilton Laborda with ace-jack offsuit.
I wonder how he would look wearing shower curtains.
He has made a splash with his sartorial choice. He makes the call. Alex Moore lays down his button in the small blind. Paul Spitzberg.
Someone give Paul Spitzberg a hand. I want to see him win. He's a nice man.
Nope, not that time. Heinz in the big blind, Queen 7, and he will sit this one out. So heads up, Vengren and Laborda. Flop now. Jack 5-8. Laborda takes the lead with a pair of jacks. Vengren checks.
This is Laborda's first World Series. He plays cash games in Brazil.
He won a seat to the World Series main event last year, but did not make the trip. He bets 130,000.
Vengren very close with his older brother Matt, who has made 3 World Series final tables.
Vengren with the pocket nines with the call.
Look at all the shades at that end of the table. Very sunny down yonder.
The turn card is an ace of spades. Laborda improves to aces up. Now Vengren with 85,000. Not sure what that bet sizing means.
maybe representing a flush, but that's curious. He had checked the flop, and that's an inexplicable tiny bet on the turn.
And a tiny call. Jack of spades on the river. Laborda got better with every street. That gives him jacks full.
But here comes Vengren.
And Vengren with a lot of the orange chips. That totals 205,000.
Geez, what is Vengren representing here? I believe he's representing insanity.
He may be. And Laborda's just fine with that as he raises to a cool $1 million. And Vengren gives it up quickly. Sometimes ace-jack works great.
Give Brazil credit, they travel well.
Thank goodness they did not bring any vuvuzelas. 81 players remaining, the average stack over 2.5 million. At an outer table, the downtrodden face of Pablo Ubierna, who is all in with pocket fives, only to discover he's dominated by the tens of Brian Devonshire.
Pair over pair is the way you get healthy and wealthy in No Limit Hold'em.
And here is the flop. And there's a 5 for Ubierna. He got exactly what he was looking for.
Devo crushed, asking for a 6 to help chop the pot. Ubierna has that, it ain't over till it's over look.
The Spanish poker pro sees a deuce of hearts. He's still good. Devo needs some help quickly.
Devo still in search of a 10 to knock out Ubierna.
The river card. It's the 10! Yeah! Devonshire takes it. Ubierna eliminated from the main event.
The local pro rallies back to send the Spanish pro home.
81st place, worth over $90,000. Devo unlucky on the flop, but the rafting guide bounced back on the river, and he didn't even need his one time. Welcome back to Las Vegas. You are watching the World Series of Poker presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Just 9 tables remain to an outer table. Former University of Texas student Matt Giannetti was dealt 2 beautiful kings, saw a flop of 2 trays and a jack with Guillaume Darcourt, who holds queen 7 of hearts. Darcourt just bluffed raise Giannetti and may get spanked here. Giannetti with a re-raise to 610,000.
Darcourt got frisky with Squadouche, and Giannetti's re-raise should shut down Darcourt's illusions of bluffing grandeur.
Darcourt posturing a bit here, and finally does lay it down. Giannetti will take that pot.
Matt Giannetti, silent and steady.
So Darcourt gave up a few chips, but you see his day 6 has been very productive. He still sits with 4.8 million. Giannetti began day 5 with only 114,000. Now here on day 6, over 2.3 million. To our secondary feature table where Jean-Robert Bellande sits. He has bettered last year's finish already.
But Jean-Robert right now looking to restart his engine.
All right, action will begin on Sebastian Rutenberg on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole cam. Ace-king off. 27-year-old German lives in London now. A raise to 85,000. Pocket queens for fellow German Pius Heinz.
2 of the notoriously aggressive players here, each picks up a hand.
Heinz, 22, born in Cologne, now lives in Austria. And re-raises to 235. Bellande folds to Vengren now. Vengren with pocket 4s.
I'm all in.
And Vengren re-raises all in over $1.2 million.
Ooh, Vengren stepping into the tall grass here, and I don't think he's going to see his way out.
Laborda folds. Folded back now to Rutenberg, the original raiser with ace-king.
Best case for Vengren here is Rutenberg calls and Heinz folds, but that seems unlikely. I like Rutenberg's jawline.
I'm all in.
Rutenberg now raises Heinz all in. Rutenberg the biggest stack of these 3.
This is not an automatic call or fold for Heinz. This is a decision for all his chips. Of course, he's more worried about Rutenberg than Vengren. Rutenberg has him covered. Heinz has got to wonder, could he have aces or kings?
Vengren just a sideshow to this drama.
I call.
Heinz calls all in.
Wow, I'm in trouble.
Rutenberg can knock out 2 players if he can catch a card.
I thought that's what it was.
Sebastian calls.
Shuffle jacks. Shuffle jacks and 10 things, Bruno.
Du schaffst Jack sometimes, oder?
All in, but ahead at the moment.
Tens auf jeden Fall nicht Jacks. I was so hoping he folded his pair and was up against Ace King. Close. Nein, ich mach's auf jeden Fall lieber mit der Hand als mit Jacks.
Rudenberg stands to lose 2/3 of his chips, but if he can hit an ace or a king, Rudenberg would knock out both Wengren and Heinz.
Wengren can be knocked out by either German player. All right, the flop, 10 Jack 6 rainbow. Heinz still ahead. Rudenberg still with a chance for the double knockout.
Heinz poised for a big double up and then some. Rudenberg now with 8 outs, ace, king, or queen. Wengren with only 2 outs. He's got to have a 4 on the turn or the river.
The turn card. Tray of clubs, no change. Heinz still leads with the queens. Wengren thought it was a 4 for a second.
Yes, status quo. Wengren and Rudenberg still trying to hit an out. Heinz will be rolling in chips or out of chips.
The river card is a blank. Jared Wengren eliminated from the main event. Heinz more than doubles his stack. He's over 7 million.
One 3-way all-in changes the landscape in a hurry.
Heinz with a well-deserved smile on his face. Rudenberg cut to fewer than 1.7 million. 65% of his chip stack going to his fellow German pro. 24-year-old Jared Wengren with far and away his biggest tournament payday, over $90,000.
Wow, what a sick double up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. So close.
Sometimes the big moments just erupt.
Actually, you know what? I'm all in. I'm all in. I call.
Wow! Heinz with the win. He's got a lot of new ammunition to work with. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Not too long ago, the starting stacks were 30,000 chips per player. Now we're seeing pots of over 7 million chips. No time to sit and relax here on day 6. The remaining 72 players just got a raise. It's a 6-figure payout now, over $108,000. J.P. Kelly, who says his goal is to have 100 big blinds at any point in the tournament with pocket jacks, and mission accomplished. He raised to 100,000. Folded now over to Erick Lindgren, 6-5 of diamonds.
When he was working at Casino San Pablo as a prop, playing 15-30 limit hold'em, Lindgren one night was killing this one guy who finally said to him, "E, you dog." And that became E-Dog.
There you go. And you see E-Dog's new card protector, his left hand with a wedding ring. 6-5 of diamonds, and with Kelly already raising, a re-raise to 250 for Lindgren.
I mentioned earlier that E-Dog likes to see a lot of flops and play small ball, but perhaps I'm remembering him as a single guy. He's a wild and crazy married fella now.
Mozhnikov and Guy Gorilik at the move here. Gorilik with 9s, and he folds them.
Maybe he's still hurting from laying down those pocket kings earlier.
I guess so. So now folded back to Kelly. Lindgren with a re-raise to 250.
Kelly with pocket jacks. He may as well muck him right now, Lon.
I agree, but he calls.
I'm impressed with Eric. He's been married several weeks now, and he's yet to bet his wedding ring.
All right, heads up, a 2-time bracelet winner and a 1-time bracelet winner. The flop, 10 deuce king, 1 overcard to Kelly's pocket jacks, and he checks.
We saw Brian Yoon in that spot earlier. Pocket jacks out of position. It's very uncomfortable.
Lindgren missed the flop and checks. Turn card. Queen of diamonds. Kelly adds an up and down straight draw. Lindgren with a flush draw now. Kelly checks again.
I thought he might fire there. Baby needs new shoes. Maybe Eric wants to bluff at it.
Well, oftentimes a couple of checks into Lindgren is an invitation to bet. And he does bet 350,000.
Lindgren uncomfortable making a play on the flop, but picking up a draw on the turn. He makes the semi-bluff and hopes he can take the pot down.
Ooh, Kelly reaching for the purple chips worth 100 grand each. And here is the check raise to 900,000.
Wow. I thought Kelly might call there, hoping his jacks might be good or hoping to hit the straight, but that's how dull minds like me think. Kelly with a smarter plan.
Lindgren with nothing but a draw. How badly does he want to see the river? He's not getting the right price to call.
Now, frankly, I think this is a reluctant but standard laydown for Erick Lindgren. He's on the flush draw.
Certainly Kelly no stranger to Erick Lindgren, so these two know each other pretty well, and Eric does lay it down.
2 bracelets are better than 1. Kelly gets the better of Erick Lindgren there.
Well, a check raise is often a showstopper. Kelly happy to win it right there against Lindgren. A lot going on in that hand. For a breakdown on what we just saw, let's check in with Phil Galfond for some pro analysis.
In this hand, Erick Lindgren 3-bets in position with 6-5 suited and gets called by JP Kelly. Eric decides to check back the King-10 deuce flop, and I think in doing so represents a hand like Ace-Queen or maybe King-X. On the turn, he decides to bet on the Queen of Diamonds, and I think it's a spot where JP Kelly, had he not picked up an open-ender, would have folded a lot of hands here. But he does have the open-ender, and rather than calling, he decides to check raise. I think this play is great. I believe it makes Eric fold a king, fold ace-queen, and obviously fold a flush draw that he doesn't have odds to call with. I think the moral is to play your draws aggressively. It gives you two ways to win. You can either hit your draw or you can pick up the pot right there if your opponent folds.
I'm crossing JP Kelly off my home game list. Eric can still come if he brings beer.
So JP Kelly getting the best of Erick Lindgren on that hand at the featured table. You see the payout, over 108,000. Only 6 outer tables remain now. Nicholas Fierro is at risk at one of them, holding ace-queen. Greg Kaplan with king-jack needs to improve to eliminate Fierro.
Kaplan does not have Fierro covered by much.
Here's the flop. 7-7-10, ace-queen still ahead for Fierro.
Kaplan, a 24-year-old Chicago pro. He wanted to say, "Hi, Mom." Fierro, a 29-year-old pro from Santiago, Chile, with one World Series final table to his credit.
Turn card is a 9. Kaplan picks up a double gutter.
So Fierro now must fade a queen, 8, king, or jack.
The river is a tray, and Fierro will double up.
Kaplan crippled.
Left with crumbs, just 150,000.
Boy, Chile's a long way from here, but Fierro's got a rail.
He doubles, but still well short of the chip average, but he's still in the game. Players are forced to take stands with short stacks and hope for the best. It's a gut-wrenching decision that worked out for Fierro that time, and he remains one of the lucky few in the main event. In 2010, Matt Jarvis made his first World Series final table, and it was a big one. The November Niner earned over $1 million, but fell short of the main event bracelet. This year, Jarvis made his second final table and would not fall short again. Capturing the bracelet in the $5,000 six-handed no-limit hold'em event.
You dream about this moment ever since you start playing poker.
Repeating last year's final table proved difficult for all of the November Niners. Only Joseph Cheong made the money, and just 2 players made it past day 2.
The last player to make back-to-back main event final tables, Dan Harrington in 2003 and 4. What an accomplishment. He was 3rd and 4th against large fields.
Here in 2011, 70 players remain. The average stack approaching 3 million. The current chip leader, Phil Collins, on the prowl again. He just flopped a flush draw against the pocket sixes of Brazilian Fabio Souza. Collins bet 155,000. Souza with a call.
Phil Collins still looks like the chip leader.
All right, so here we go to the turn. Ace of diamonds. Collins adds a wheel draw to his flush draw and has first crack at betting that ace.
And the Phil Collins, Ben Lamb School of Big Stack Aggression says, "I will continue to pound you."
265,000 from the chip leader.
Souza, the other Brazilian fella, still in the main event field. He seems to sense something is up here.
Pocket six is so tough to play. Ace and a queen on board. And he does lay it down. And Phil Collins will stack more chips.
Day 6 continues to be a Phil Collins celebration.
Souza with little choice with the pocket sixes, down to 1.1 million now. Collins approaching 8.3 million as the chip leader's stack grows larger. All right, we'll go back over the secondary table. We saw Jared Vengren knocked out in a wildly entertaining hand. His seat taken by Canadian pro Tyler Bonkowski.
Very nice.
Bonkowski with ace-king off.
He won his first bracelet this year. Says he learned to play by reading Phil Hellmuth's book. Nobody admits to that.
From the button, he raises to 95,000 in the small blind Tree Huing.
Still working undercover.
He lays it down to Hilton Laborda in the big blind. Laborda peaks at 5 tray of spades on the Jack Links beef jerky hole cam.
Laborda has a very low strike zone.
The Brazilian businessman calls for 55,000 more. He'll go heads up against Bonkowski. The flop. Ace 10 deuce. Bonkowski with top pair. Laborda with a wheel draw. Laborda checks. Bonkowski now. 85,000.
He's got to love the flop. Bets it small. Laborda's poker posture is awful, and I believe it will hurt his game as he gets older.
So far, he's doing okay. Laborda with over 4 million chips.
Laborda doesn't slow play. He plays slowly, very slowly.
Well, life moves at a different pace in Brazil. There is the call.
That's a bad call, possibly the result of poor posture.
7 of diamonds on the turn. Laborda got no help. He's a 10-1 dog now.
It is possible Laborda does not have a chair and he's simply hanging onto the table by the strength of his elbows.
He checks again.
Bonkowski again looking at a very nice board for top pair, top kicker. Bonkowski won his bracelet this year in limit hold'em.
A 27-year-old from Regina, Saskatchewan, putting some chips together. This time it is 240,000.
Well, I would think this would end the hand, but it's possible Laborda's mind at the moment is a million miles away. Actually, I believe Brazil is a million miles away from Las Vegas.
He could just be literally stuck to the rail, too.
Actually, I've just gotten word. One of our spotters has confirmed that Laborda indeed is not sitting in a chair. He's able to see the board courtesy of his left arm, which is propping up his entire body.
Laborda putting together the chips to call, and that's what he does.
Another bizarre call from Laborda. I guess he's planning to bluff at it on the river. The man in the chair versus the man not in a chair.
All right, the river card, and no bluff needed. Laborda gets there, rivering the wheel.
Well, I just fell out of my chair. A 4 on the river?
My goodness.
Where do they get these decks?
So Laborda now figuring out, can he get anything from Bonkowski? Bonkowski has bet the whole way, so why not?
Oh, and he's been given a chair,
look at
Lon.
that.
What a late turnaround in this hand. First the 4, and now he's got a seat. Well, we know Laborda has the absolute nuts, and we know he's deliberate. I'm going to order some supper.
Laborda now reaching for the green chips, double fisted. Oh, he wants to cut deep with this one. 1 million to Bonkowski.
Laborda overbets the pot, hoping Bonkowski thinks he's missed the heart flush draw.
Bonkowski, top pair, top kicker, second best.
And I feel for Bonkowski. I mean, if I'm Bonkowski now, I am completely mystified by the man in the cape with bad posture.
Tyler needs chips, and there's a very big carrot out there.
Good call.
He makes the call.
Roll call, showdown, please.
And Laborda will finally show in the nuts.
Laborda tabled his wheel like, of course I have the 3-5.
Oh, what a hit to Bonkowski. Hilton Laborda does it again. Bonkowski will ship almost all his orange chips across the table. Laborda now over 5.5 million. What an introduction Bonkowski just got to the flag-draped Brazilian. Whatever works at the main event. Phil Collins continues to reign as chip leader here in the Amazon room. Ryan Lenihan into second place. Now Heinz and Lamb third and fourth. And Norman, the Brazilian, with 5 million. Hilton Laborda.
No man wearing his national flag has ever won the main event. Watch out for Hilton.
Indeed. All right, as we get back to the feature table, the blinds up to 25 and 50,000. Erick Lindgren sits with 2.3 million, well below the chip average. Action on JP Kelly on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Hole Cam. Jack 9 of diamonds.
Just 24 years old, but with 12 World Series cashes.
He raises to 125,000. Brian Yoon with ace queen off.
Yoon majoring in economics at UCLA. If I were him, I'd switch my major to ace queen, and then he'd know to throw it away.
Well, he is thinking about playing this, and he does make the call.
Why is ace queen such a temptress?
Folded to Moshnikov with king queen of diamonds.
Moshnikov has been going fishing during breaks here. Lots of sturgeon in the Las Vegas River.
He makes the call.
Come on.
And Salzburg moves all in with ace king.
Salzberg, executive producer of Weeds on Showtime. Also worked on Entourage and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
His raise was a $945,000 total, folded to Erica Motino in the big blind with 2 red 10s.
Pocket 10s, nice hand, but there are 4 players in the pot already. It's been 3-bet, and there's an all-in.
All in.
And she raises all in for over $1.2 million. Kelly gives up his hand quickly. Ace Queen into the muck now for Yoon. Back to Mozhnikov.
Boy, I don't know how Motino made that play.
Mozhnikov folds, and so Salzberg will be at risk with his ace-king.
I had an awfully good hand.
Motino trying to knock him out with the pocket 10s.
Now, Salzberg in a race for his main event life, but he's behind. I think he can easily curb his enthusiasm for Motino's call. Motino, girlfriend of David Doc Sands, who also is still alive in this main event. She'll have less than 6 big blinds left if she loses this race.
All right, here is the flop. Salzberg at risk, and there's a 10. Motino flops a set. Salzberg needs a Hollywood ending to stick around.
I don't think he's going to get the Hollywood ending. He's 1% to win this, baby.
Queen, Jack, right? They only can catch you.
Hey, you're supposed to be rooting for me.
No, I mean, you know.
Turn card, 5 of diamonds will end it. Salzberg will be leaving Las Vegas. That's Salzberg saying his goodbyes after being knocked out by Erica Motino. He wins over $108,000.
Salzberg stares down the board. It will not change.
Motino gambled, and it paid off.
What should call that?
17 people in the first hour.
Come on, man. You did awesome. I know. Tens. Calls. Pocket 10s. She played 1 tournament in her life, this girl.
2 callers.
3.
Yeah, it was huge.
Motino has worked behind the scenes on several TV shows. I don't think Salzberg will be calling her for lunch or work anytime soon.
Every World Series of Poker main event has subplots. The chip leader that crashes and burns. The stars who don't make the money. But one subplot always gets the room buzzing. Last woman standing. Will it be Erica Motino?
To make it this far is really just amazing.
Or Amanda Musumeci?
It's definitely a good thing to be a female, knowing how to use that psychologically against people.
2 players can be last woman standing. 69 can be last player standing. Welcome back to the Rio for the conclusion of Day 6 of the World Series of Poker main event, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. So much on the line as the remaining 69 players set their sights on Day 7 and beyond. No surprise to see Ben Lamb in good shape.
Why shouldn't he be in good shape? He's got chips, he's got a girlfriend, and he's just 26 years old.
Erick Lindgren has a tough table draw, but he's a gamer.
He's not complaining. He's got enough chips, he's got a lovely wife, he's got a baby on the way.
Amanda Musumeci is one of 2 women remaining.
Like Ben Lamb, she's 26 years old, but she needs more chips.
Erica Motino has been impressive so far.
She's only 25. If my math's correct, that means next year she'll be 26.
Erica's got more chips than her boyfriend, David Doc Sands.
He's 26. They say age before beauty, but not this time.
Second in chips and first in chartreuse hoodies is Ryan Linehan.
Guess what? He's 26 years old. I'm not making this stuff up.
And there's Phil Collins, who has been on a chip gathering mission on Day 6.
Lon Collins also is 26. Apparently, if you're not 26, you're nobody here.
Only 1% of the original field remains. The University of South Carolina grad on top, followed by Linehan, German, Pius Heinz, and Ben Lamb. At our secondary table, Jean-Robert Bellande still in the game. He has already bettered his 78th place finish from last year in the main event. Blinds at 25 and 50,000. Tri Huing, amateur from British Columbia, Canada, with King Queen.
He has a degree in psychology and also has some training in hypnotism. Is it unethical to hypnotize an opponent at no limit?
A raise to 115,000. Andy Henriksen, a 23-year-old Aussie with pocket 8s.
He trains dolphins there, but dolphins are barred from most casino card rooms.
This is his first ever World Series cash, and he calls.
We started the main event with 6,865 players. 99% of them are gone.
Number of players gone from this hand. Folded to the big blind. Bellande with 7-6 of hearts comes along.
The last time Jean-Robert gave up his big blind, Minnesota Fats weighed less than Amarillo Slim.
All right, 3 players will see this flop. Ace, ace, 6. Nobody has an ace. Bellande paired his 6, but still trails.
Jean-Robert looking for his mojo on day 6.
Bellande bets 100,000. Tree Wing now. He's also a venture capitalist in Canada. He folds now to Henriksen with the best hand, aces and 8s, and he calls.
$8.7 million will go to the main event champion. Jean-Robert's thoughts are elsewhere right now.
Tray of clubs on the turn. Bellande called from the big blind, bet the flop, now checks.
Henriksen says he is not a pro, calls himself more of a lucky enthusiast.
I like that. He bets 100,000.
100,000? What is that? I guess Henriksen is trying to reel in the dolphin.
1/6 of the pot is what that is, but Bellande will come along for the small amount.
Bellande may think he has the best hand, or if a spade hits on the river, he might bluff at it.
The river card. And there is a spade. Action on Jean-Robert now.
At the moment, Jean-Robert doesn't look like a lucky enthusiast.
He's left with aces and 6s. He checks to Henriksen's aces and 8s.
I wouldn't bet if I were Henriksen. More downside than upside.
He does check.
And a 6.
And Bellande's 6 will not be good enough. Andy Henriksen will take that pot. Jean-Robert giving up chips. Henriksen over $3 million now.
That is a bigger hit to Jean-Robert stacked than it looks.
There has been plenty of build-up to this year's November 9, but as we near the conclusion of Day 6, the final table is front and center on the minds of the remaining 69 players. Some of the stars are short-stacked, but there are plenty of intriguing possibilities for the biggest night in poker.
Jean-Robert Bellande at the final table would be big news, and not just because he's 6'6". Ben Lamb at the final table would be a fitting conclusion to a splendid summer. But here's what I'd really like to see. Erica Martino and David Sands at the final table. Why? Because before they get all engaged and married, I want them to spend some time together in a stressful situation. Then they'll know if they can live happily ever after.
Well, forget the final table. Just having them both make it to Day 6 with chips is stressful enough. Where's the Tylenol?
I just believe podiatrists shouldn't date podiatrists, lawyers shouldn't date lawyers, and poker players shouldn't date poker players.
Brian Yoon with ace-9 of spades and a raise to 115,000 over to Ben Lamb. Lamb the top stack at this table with 7.3 million calls. Fold it over to Alexander Mozhnikov on the button. King Jack. He'll sit this one out. Fold it over to Gorilik in the big blind, and he lays it down. So heads up, Yoon and Lamb.
I want to play pots with Ben, man. Why can't you just 3-bet?
All right, the flop. 4 trade Jack. Yoon did not pair up. Lamb is best with a small pocket pair.
Well, the continuation bet has wrecked more young lives.
130,000 from Yoon.
I don't think I've ever seen any 26-year-old look more comfortable at a poker table than Ben Lamb.
He makes the call.
Yoon just 21, which means Lamb has been on planet Earth 24% longer than Yoon has.
Turn card 6 of diamonds. Again, no help to Yoon. Lamb picks up an up and down straight draw.
Well, Yoon seems intent on carrying on. Why do you want to give away your chips? Like Oklahoma Johnny Hale always says, money is not that heavy to carry.
He pumps up the pot some more, 250,000.
I suspect Lamb will stick around. He may even raise the youngin' here.
He's certainly got the chips and the chops to do it. There's a call.
And Yoon goes, oh, geez, man, he called?
Yoon trying to work under the Ben Lamb scrutiny. King of clubs on the river. Lamb's hand is best.
Yeah, Lamb intently watching Yoon. If Yoon's going to sneeze, Lamb knows it first. You know, I think Yoon knew he would fire a third bluff if he had to here. I respect that. It's the only way he can win the pot.
It looks like he will test Ben a little further. That's about 1/3 of the pot, 340,000.
Yoon disguises the bluff as a value bet, and Ben Lamb ain't buying what he's selling.
Lamb going for his stack, makes the call.
You're definitely good. Nice hero.
Lamb will take that pot.
I don't think Yoon is going to try to steal too many pots from Ben Lamb from here on in. He just bluffed off 1/4 of his stack.
And he's learned a hard lesson that so many other players before him have. Ben Lamb made that hand look easy.
Great call there, Ben.
For some insight on how he did it, let's check in with 11-time bracelet winner, Phil Hellmuth.
Well, calling a triple barrel bluff with 2 5s, my hat's off to you, if I had one on. Ben Lamb, well done. Jack 4-3 flop, as you saw. Lamb calling on the flop with 5s, good call. On the turn, a 6 came off. Now that made his call a lot easier as he had an open-ended straight. From Yoon's point of view, he bluffed again, shows some guts to double barrel bluff. The river's a king, and I think that Yoon decided I'm going to represent a king, and I'm going to make a big bet here. But he didn't make a big bet. He only bet 340,000. Lamb called down the triple barrel bluff with 2 5s. This hand is not about Yoon, who could have bet $1 million and maybe won the hand. Rather, it's about Lamb calling a triple barrel bluff with 2 5s. That's why you're there, kid. Well done.
Lamb is the Player of the Year leader. Hellmuth second in that race at the moment.
At an outer table, Alan Cunningham in a pickle, short stacked, all in with pocket kings, only to have Marc-Andre Ledouceur wake up with aces.
But it's kings and not 3s and 4s, really.
All right, here's the flop. 9 tray, 4 rainbow. It's simple for Cunningham now.
Even Alan Cunningham runs kings into aces now and again. This could end his main event.
Jack of hearts, Cunningham down to his final river card, perhaps.
Cunningham's got to have a king.
The river is pink, but it's a queen. Ledouceur's aces hold up, and he'll take the last of the 5-time bracelet winners chips.
His 4th main event cash in 6 years, another deep run, and another validation of Cunningham's greatness.
Over $108,000 won by Alan Cunningham for his 69th place finish. A huge boost to Marc-Andre Ledouceur, who does the field a favor by knocking out Alan Cunningham. A Canadian over $2.7 million. It was a great run, though, for the former Player of the Year. Alan Cunningham's 2011 main event, though, comes crashing to an end. Nearly 6 days are complete here at the main event. 68 players remain. Just 9 will play at the final table in November. New Orleans pro Ryan Lenihan just 4-bet pre-flop with jacks into Brian Folane with ace-queen in the hole. Folane, a 30-year-old amateur from Fremont, California.
He runs a junk removal hauling company.
And he re-raises to $2.2 million.
I'm all in. All in.
And Lenihan raises Folane all in.
Folane already has committed half his stack. Hard to fold it. He knows he's behind. I think he'd take a race for his main event life at this point.
Lenihan starting the hand with twice the chips of Folane.
I had fun, I call.
He makes the call, and so it will be ace-queen all in against the jacks of Lenihan.
Folane had a lot of chips to start the hand, 80 big blinds. You hate to put them all in with ace-queen off, but that's how it played out.
Norman, look at that pot, 8.1 million in the middle. And here is the flop. No ace, no queen. Folane's hopes are dimming.
Lenihan drove 28 hours from New Orleans to get here, and it's about to pay off with a chip lead at this main event.
Turn card, 4 of diamonds.
Oh, come on, baby.
Folane with a flush draw.
Diamonds are my wife's best friend.
Folane looking for a diamond, an ace, or a queen, or he'll be gone.
The river card.
Diamonds. Come on, baby.
The 10 of clubs. Folane comes up short. Lenihan's pocket jacks win him a huge pot. Folane sent to the rail, and we have a new chip leader in Ryan Lenihan.
I'd fold any day of the week if I wasn't halfway in already. 12 million sounded a hell of a lot better than 1.8. Wow.
The moment it's all over, it's as if you're in shock.
Elsewhere in the center is Jake Baisley at risk and way behind with 2 red queens as Fabio Souza was dealt 2 black kings. 2 players well under the chip average clashing here. The flop now. 5-5 king. Souza flops kings full.
Souza needs to come back to the table, and Baisley knows he's going to need to leave. Baisley, as you may recall, played Division II college basketball.
He'll need every queen in the deck to win this pot. Souza still not watching. And it's an ace on the turn, and that will end the matter. Souza scores the knockout.
Souza had hit a runner-runner flush on day 5 to stick around, and he's still sticking around.
Baisley with his 4th cash of this World Series. Sosa now with 2.1 million chips. And for the 28-year-old pro from Cincinnati, Jake Baisley, over $108,000. Back now to our secondary table. You see the last 2 women standing and their chip counts. Erica Motino with a much bigger stack. Action on Tree Huing. Ace-Jack.
Wing says, I didn't come here for the dry heat. I came here to play.
And the man who looks like a poker secret agent raises to $115,000. King 8 for Laborda.
You know, I think it's a single button on the front that keeps Laborda's flag from dropping to the floor.
Folded to Sebastian Rutenberg.
T-shirts are just so much more practical to wear than flags.
Folded around 2. Jean-Robert Bellande, ace-10 of spades in the small blind.
I'm all in.
And Bellande is going to commit all his chips.
Jean-Robert pushes with less than 20 big blinds left.
And an immediate call from the wing who has Jean-Robert out-chipped and dominated.
Jean-Robert dominated and depressed. He sees the bad news and immediately regrets pushing.
Tree Wing trying to put Jean-Robert out of his misery. Jean-Robert already has bested his finish from last year's main event. Here's the flop. Aces up for Wing.
7 of spades.
He doesn't have a lot of outs. Bellande's going to need a runner miracle.
I guess if I call, I'm in anyways.
He needs to catch something on the turn or he's gone. 4 of diamonds doesn't do it, and the main event is over for Jean-Robert.
Good game, man. All right, guys.
Well, Jean-Robert now broke and living like a 65th place finisher. But my goodness, back-to-back top 100 finishes at the main event. Mr. Bellande has some substance to go along with his style.
Bellande made quite an impression here at the main event, as he usually does. Tree Huing up to $6.5 million as he absorbs the last of Jean-Robert Bellande's chips. Right now, Bellande is standing by with Kara Scott.
Jean-Robert, talk to us about where this went wrong for you today, because you've had such a great run up to this point.
Well, basically, Kara, I was short-stacked almost the whole day, and when you're short-stacked, there's very little poker playing you can actually do. Most of anything you do is done pre-flop, and when you get really short-stacked, you basically only have one option, which is to shove. For the second year in a row, I'm going to go home with a questionable hand on, like, did I really need to play the ace-10 of spades right there all in? And, you know, last year was the queen-10 of diamonds.
But 2 really impressive deep runs, and thanks so much for talking to us.
Oh, wow, my pleasure, and thanks for having me. And wow, maybe we'll get back here again. That'd be great.
They are falling fast as day 6 wraps up. Each elimination moves the remaining field closer to that big payday at the end, $8.7 million. Welcome back to the 2011 main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Already we've seen Alan Cunningham and Jean-Robert Bellande bust late on day 6, leaving 63 players. The World Series is made up of more than just the main event. 58 total events were held this summer with over 75,000 combined entrants. 6,865 of them came here on the main event.
Here's what I don't understand, Lon. Women comprise 1/2 of the human race, but women only make up 3.5% of the main event field. Those numbers just don't make sense. Where are all the women?
Careful what you wish for. I firmly believe women are smarter than men. They might take over the game. Lindgren with pocket aces under the gun. They're playing 7-handed now at the feature table. A raise to $110,000.
Lindgren's new bride, Erica Schoenberg, is a poker pro, but I believe one of them has to give it up. I'm sponsoring legislation to disallow couples from playing poker. I just don't think it's healthy for long-term relationships.
Oh, like you know so much about relationships.
Good for you.
All right, fold it over to J.P. Kelly on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole camp. Queen 9 of clubs on the button.
At about 2-2, 2-1.
Kelly and Jesper Hogo, the only players ever to win bracelets here and in Europe in the same year.
Kelly calls. Yoon gives up his small blind. Ben Lamb in the big blind. 7-6 of diamonds. And he makes the call, so the 3 bracelet winners will see a flop. Lindgren's aces, the hand to beat. Here's the flop. 10-5-8. Lamb is open-ended. Kelly with a gut shot. Lamb checks. Lindgren ahead with his aces. Bets $190,000.
With a scary flop for pocket aces. Straight and flush draws out there. Pocket middle pairs might have hit.
Kelly makes the call.
Lamb with that straight draw, but because of the flush possibility, he's got what we call tainted outs. He can hit that straight, but if it's a heart, a lot of times it might be a loser.
Ben Lamb will come along, and they build a pot of almost $1 million.
Lindgren's pocket aces right now have a 50% chance of winning this pot, Lon, which means they have a 50% chance of losing this pot.
All right, turn card. A 6 of clubs. Lamb with a pair of 6s now.
Check.
And he checks.
Pocket ace is still ahead, but if you look at that board, it's hard to figure they're going to hold up in a three-way hand.
Lindgren, that's 550,000. He would love to clear everyone else out right now.
But Kelly, I think, has got a call now with a flush draw and a double gutter. He's getting the right price.
J.P. Kelly. Looks like there's no quit in him as he makes the call.
And I think Lamb's got to play now. He's getting 4-1 on a call.
So this pot gets bigger, the intrigue more intriguing. This hand developing between these three top players, and Lamb does make the call.
Well, Lindgren's pocket aces with a 48% chance of winning this pot line, which means they have a 52% chance of losing this pot. I hope you're keeping up with all the higher math.
I got it. River card. Oh, and bingo for Benba as Lamb completes a 10 high straight.
The pocket aces are not going to hold up long.
No. And Eric looks worried.
1 million.
And a million chips from Ben Lamb. Quickly, the aces into the muck.
Kelly wondering if Lamb missed a heart draw and is making a move. Kelly has a pair of 9s. By the way, the number is no longer up there, but Lindgren's pocket ace is now with a 0% chance of winning the pot.
I kept up on that part. J.P. Kelly will lay it down, and Ben Lamb will add 1.7 million chips to his stack, and that's a beautiful thing.
It's good to be Ben Lamb.
Lamb approaching 10 million chips. And Motino's boyfriend, Doc Sands, is joining the table.
Is this the main event or is this Love Connection?
Oh my God. Look who it is.
I know a few of you.
The doctor's in.
Yes, and the clinic is open.
Oh, Fran.
We scripted that. We figured this might happen.
That was completely scripted.
Good news is we scripted it a while ago, so it meant we had confidence.
I'm going to have to fast track my couples legislation.
Boyfriend and girlfriend at the featured table. The game just got a little more interesting.
I'm happy to be here. I'm having fun, let me tell you.
Oh my God.
The doctor's in.
We scripted that. We figured this might happen.
That was completely scripted.
A new dynamic here at the main event. Boyfriend and girlfriend sitting across the felt from each other.
Why don't we just break out Twister?
Motino and Sands with nearly identical chip stacks. Meanwhile, the only other woman left is afraid to see the flop. Amanda Musamechi, all in with pocket 9s, racing against the ace-queen of tournament leader Ryan Lenahan.
Are Musamechi and Lenahan engaged or married or anything?
No, they are not. 5 deuce 10. Musamechi still alive in her double up or go home moment.
Amanda pleased with the flop and hoping she's going to be sitting down for a while.
Lenahan came up empty on the flop. Now the turn. And there's a queen. Lenahan pairs up. Suddenly Musamechi feels quite helpless.
And now Musamechi has to have a 9 or her main event is over.
The river card. The tray of diamonds. Lenahan takes the last of Amanda Musamechi's stack. So the richest in the room gets about $1 million richer as Lenahan up to almost 12.9 million. Musamechi will earn almost $131,000.
One 26-year-old knocks out another, and we are down to a single female here at the main event.
Attention players, representing half the planet, our last one standing is Erica Motino from Easton, Connecticut. Go, girl.
Yes, are you kidding? That's awesome. Oh my God.
Last
First
girl
ever
and
10K, last woman. Yeah, and last girlfriend probably too.
Because you're going with Bimbo, right?
Last woman standing is certainly an impressive accomplishment for Motino, but starting a business with her boyfriend is impressive too.
Hey, Erica, did you pull this picture of Kuhn with the silver shirt wearing the tie?
Yeah, I got that one.
All right, good. Yeah, I really like that look for him, so I think we should throw that on there.
Yeah. Erica Motino,
David Doc Sands,
25 years old,
26 years old,
Las Vegas, Nevada.
There was never really a day where we woke up and were like, oh, let's start a business helping other poker players, but she just does such great work and provides, such great services that are really beneficial to players. It just kind of grew organically.
Some of us just tried to convince Erica to adopt us, help organize us and get our lives together, because poker players, we all live pretty sloppy lives, so.
I was not a poker player before I met David. I actually had no idea what hands beat what. I didn't know, I didn't even know you could play online. And then as we started hanging out more and more, subconsciously I just started learning, and then I really started enjoying the game and just got into it. In order to stay sane, between me and David, we have other interests in common besides poker. We love to hike and work out, and I like to keep the poker talk to a minimum. Because I do understand the game of poker and understanding, what Dave's going through on a daily basis. And if I didn't really understand poker, then I feel like I would be kind of removed from his life in a way.
Even though I would like it if she outlasts me in the main event, if it does happen, I'm sure I won't hear the end of it. I'll be getting a lot of crap from my friends for a lot of years.
Bragging rights.
Exactly.
They met when they were studying abroad as college juniors in Australia. Doc pushed Erica to play the main event this year, and she didn't decide to until the night before the final day one.
So Erica Motino adds her name to the list. You see Maria Ho from 2007. She just missed out on a bracelet this year with a runner-up finish. Barbara Enright, the only woman to make the final table in the big one. Action on Motino here at the featured table. King 4. She lays it down to J.P. Kelly now, and he has the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand. He raises to $125,000.
I don't know, Lon.
Oh, no.
I guess he's mixing it up with suited connectors. D, 7-6 of diamonds.
All right, Yoon with ace-queen.
So I guess it doesn't count if I put Yoon on ace-queen?
No, I'm sorry, it does not.
It's not even a choice up there. I'm going off the menu.
No, you have to pick ace-queen for Yoon. Yoon calls, so folded to Lindgren.
You call that raise. Let's go.
Whoa, hey. Mozhnikov talking out of turn, I guess.
As usual.
Oh, the usual, okay.
See, Lindgren's confused. He knows Yoon has ace-queen off, but like me, he's not sure what Kelly has. Plus, Mozhnikov behind him claims he's going to raise if Eric calls.
Lindgren on the button, folds.
Talk me into it.
Now Mozhnikov. Trey Deuce.
Mozhnikov, of course, was joking. Don't think he was raising with Trey Deuce.
Folded to Doc Sands. Ace-8 off. And he will lay it down, so we're heads up.
Yeah, heads up with a couple of young guns who cut their teeth online. What a surprise.
Yoon and Kelly. Kelly won bracelets and no limit and pot limit hold'em. Here is the flop. King 7-9. No help to Yoon.
No, Kelly actually prefers pot limit hold'em. But as you mentioned, he's pretty adept at both.
He had a second place finish at the World Series of Poker Europe last year. And he now has chips in hand. He bets $165,000.
Okay, I'm ruling out B, the gut shot. It's the only hand I'm ruling out. On the other hand, with Yoon, I rule out nothing. He's got nothing now. He'll have nothing tomorrow. Yoon walks around the UCLA campus most days with nothing.
He does make the call. Good. All right. Oh, and JP getting the Ben Lamb glare from Yoon. Tray of hearts on the turn.
Now we'll see where he's at.
Kelly with a bet of $355,000.
I don't know where he's at. Well, with Yoon calling the flop, I don't think Kelly would bet here with just a pair of sevens and a flush draw. I'm going to give him credit for a better hand now. A, ace-king for top pair, top kicker.
Yoon. Oh, boy, this guy wants to play. Just with ace high, does he have a read on Kelly? He does make the call.
He doesn't got a read. He's got nothing. He's just trying to mastermind some scheme to win the pot. He's got ace high, no draw.
River card 8 of spades. Kelly, the initial raiser, and he's bet the whole way.
Well, if he missed his draw and bets again here, my compliments to him. But I've got Kelly squarely on top pair, top kicker now with ace-king.
Kelly says 800,000. That's 4 stacks of 200,000 each.
By the way, I don't know what Kelly has. I'm guessing ace-king, but I'm really glad this wild card hand isn't Yoon. I would have no idea that Yoon is sitting on ace-queen right now. He's got absolutely nothing, and heck, he'll probably call the river.
I call.
He does call. Kelly shows ace-king to win the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand. Way to go, Norman.
Yoon thought it was a bluff, and I've got to get at least half credit on that one. Don't make me appeal it. I converted to ace-king on the turn.
In fact, we'll give you full credit. And with top pair, JP Kelly boosts his stack to almost $4 million. Yoon now below $1 million. JP Kelly kept Brian Yoon on a string And Yoon called him all the way down. That put a hurt on Yoon as J.P. Kelly becomes a much more dangerous threat in the 2011 main event. There is no more recognizable piece of jewelry in poker, the standard of excellence that every player strives for, the gold bracelet. Erick Lindgren has a gold bracelet, not a main event gold bracelet, but a bracelet, ace-9 off.
E-Dog's got a curious system. He wins playing poker and loses betting sports. It's a living.
Erick with a preemptive strike on Mozhnikov, a raise to 120.
Mozhnikov went fishing this morning, caught 3 steelhead in the Las Vegas River.
He folds. Doc Sands gives it up over to South African Costa Mamaliadis with pocket sixes on the Jack Links beef jerky hole cam.
He's a second-generation Greek-South African, 34-year-old amateur, works in the import-export shipping business.
He started the day with $1.2 million up to 6.6. That's how you give yourself a shot of being one of the November 9. He calls. Makievsky folds his button. Motino, her small blind, and Kelly folds. Heads up now.
Hey, Boo. Yep. You have a chip stuck between your stack and the rail.
Hey, Boo. That's what you call me, Lon. What a coincidence.
How did they know? All right, here we go to the flop. Deuce 9-10. Erick takes the lead with middle pair. Mamaliadis missed that flop. Lindgren checks.
Mamaliadis has only played in one live event prior, the 08 All-African Tournament, and Raymond Rami knocked him out.
Rami famously made a main event final table a few years ago. He bets $220,000, does Mamaliadis.
I'm all in.
And Erick shoves all in.
The amateur can only call here, I would think, if he puts Lindgren on a draw. Would E-Dog push on a draw?
Erick does few things lightly, normally. Lindgren risking all his chips.
I'll call you. Call.
Yeah, I hope you don't have a 10.
He does not have a 10. Lindgren ahead and all in.
Erick's got to like it. Third time he's pushed all in on day 6 in great shape.
You like that hand to be against? You said?
That's what I was hoping for.
Tell the viewers at home why.
Turn card another 10. Lindgren 1 card away from a 3 million chip stack.
Mamaliadis needs a 6 to send Erick Lindgren out of here.
The river card, the jack of spades, and Lindgren will double up once again. You cannot get rid of this guy in this year's main event.
Well, Lindgren needs to build a stack, but he's playing the short stack pretty darn well.
Mamaliadis lost about $1.5 million, but still sits with over $5 million. And how about Lindgren, just $3,700 after day 1, now with $3 million on day 6.
60 big blinds isn't bad.
To the secondary table now, 4 pocket pairs saw a flop. Nobody caught a set. Tyler Bonkowski with jacks just shoved on the aces of Tree Wing. Wing made the call. O&OD had folded 10s, and Jody Howe pocket 7s.
Wing's got Bonkowski on the edge.
Bonkowski had to move with just 600,000 chips before the hand started, but his jacks running into the aces. A deuce of diamonds, Bonkowski misses.
And now Bonkowski will need a jack and a jack only, or Tree Wing's got his man.
The river card is a 4, and that will end the main event and the Las Vegas World Series for Tyler Bonkowski. Tree Wing becomes the top stack at this table once again. Bonkowski can't complain about his summer, over $350,000 in winnings, including his first bracelet.
And the venture capitalist keeps making some capital gains.
Tree Wing working on a 7 million chip stack there at the secondary table. To one of the outer tables, 2 nearly identical stacks of nearly 4 million are jousting in the white hat. Matt Giannetti flopped a set of 9s, checked to Thomas Gray. He has pocket kings and bet $560,000.
Giannetti plays quite deliberately. And guess what? He's 26 years old. Of course he is.
Giannetti announces a raise, puts out the calling chips, and now Gray wonders what Giannetti is going to make it. Giannetti raises to a total of 1.4 million and change.
All in.
Gray moved all in.
Cool.
And Giannetti makes the call. Another 8 million chip pot, and Giannetti way ahead.
The overpair against the flop set. This will be the 379th time I've seen the overpair swept out of the main event. But if Gray gets lucky, Giannetti will be down to a single 25,000 chip.
Turn card. 5 of diamonds. Giannetti's still good.
Both stacks virtually identical. Thomas Gray's got to have a king, or Matt Giannetti's going to have a lot of chips.
The river card is a jack. Giannetti wins it.
I saw paid.
Giannetti with 8 million chips. Gray on his way out.
370. Wow, man. I feel my heart right now. When I saw paid, I couldn't see over your stack.
I can feel it through your shirt.
I'm not joking, man.
A surprisingly calm Thomas Gray wins almost $131,000. Matt Giannetti can relax. The paint on the river was dry. He is now one to be reckoned with as the main event field gets even smaller. Former supermarket deli slicer Justin Pishi cut up the competition in the $1,500 limit hold'em shootout, winning his first bracelet.
The final table was one of the toughest final tables I've ever been at.
And in the World Series' fifth $1,500 no-limit hold'em tournament, Andre Akari bested Nachman Berlin heads up to take home nearly $700,000 and become Brazil's second ever bracelet winner.
Was that the flag that Hilton Laborda is now wearing?
It quite possibly was. Laborda representing Brazil well in the main event, up to nearly $7 million. Fabio Sosa, the auto body shop owner, over $2 million.
Alexander Gomez was the first Brazilian to win a bracelet in 2008.
You see Ryan Lenahan, still the top dog in the house with almost $12.5 million. Here at the feature table, folded to Ben Lamb on the button. He lays it down to the small blind Erick Lindgren with ace-5 off.
But I call.
And he limps on day 6 of the main event. He limps.
He's tired. It's day 6.
All right, now the big blind, Alexander Mozhnikov with 6 deuce off. He's not going to fold, so yeah, he checks his option.
He's tired. He checks his option. It's day 6.
All right, heads up. Here's the flop. 7-5 jack, a pair of 5s for Lindgren. They both check. Turn card 4 of hearts. Lindgren still ahead. Mozhnikov is open-ended. Eric checks.
Mozhnikov fishing for a straight now.
Mozhnikov
800.
with a purple 100,000 chip.
Or 18, right?
800?
80,000.
Hold on.
Yes.
He threw that in and said 800, but it.
Okay.
You threw it in and said 8. That's all I heard
to
with
play
8.
such way?
What did I play?
You threw it in first and then
I don't know what I
amount.
did. He's saying an amount, so it could be 100. It could be.
He threw it in and then
he said
said
800
amount.
as he threw it.
100,000.
First?
Сколько ты хотел поставить?
80.
He wanted to bet 80,000.
When I come to table, I
want to bet 80?
to everybody.
Whatever you want to bet. I don't care.
Okay.
You tell me what you wanted to bet 80?
He threw it in first.
Can I let him bet 80?
That makes sense, really.
He threw it in first and then said an amount.
That makes more sense than 800.
It's 100,000.
He said 18, but he made 80.
The ruling is he threw in a purple chip. The bet's 100,000.
I know. I'll let you bet 80.
They're not letting him bet 80 if they say it's 100.
What number you need? Tell me, please.
100,000 is the bet.
Really?
It suddenly feels like a black market Price is Right. Lindgren should mess with Mozhnikov now and raise Vosomsot here.
I don't think he did. He just called.
He called 800. 99,200 back,
The
please.
river card. Oh, Mozhnikov with a big blind special, rivering an 8-high straight. And Lindgren checked.
Eric in the middle of a game show he doesn't understand. Mozhnikov somehow managed to go from 6 deuce in the big blind to a floppy miss to a draw on the turn to a straight on the river.
And there, 4 purple chips, 400,000.
He bets silently this time.
It's a lot more than 800.
Now Eric will try to suss the Russian out.
He might have like a deuce 3.
Oh, Lindgren should say something in Russian. See if he picks up a tail on Mozhnikov.
Eric is Swedish. He knows no Russian.
Oh man, where do these cards keep popping out at? All right, give him the pot.
Lindgren lays it down.
I feel like it's deuce. I feel like it's deuce 3. I mean, is it a deuce 3? Show the deuce 3. Oh my.
You'll see.
Show us now. We only have 3 hands.
Mozhnikov up to 6.4 million. Lindgren down to 2.8 million.
Anyways, he don't know how to say it right, so he cannot tell truth now.
So Mozhnikov will take that pot. Erick Lindgren left scratching his head.
I'm sorry for the problem.
Oh no, there's no problem. I wasn't taking a shot.
Thank you for fair play.
Yeah,
my
I'll let
friend.
you bet
I will
whatever
play
you want.
Such way as you do.
Just stop bluffing me. That's all I ask. We have a deal? Can we make a deal like that?
No.
No more bluffing?
I asked if I could put a
Can
bounty
this whole
on a
table
player's
make a
head,
bond? No
'cause
more bluffing the rest of the night.
I was going to put a bounty on Amanda, whatever, Bodog Mander's butt, or head. Manderbutt's head. Manderbutt's head. For the last woman standing, but they said it was collusion. I couldn't do it.
Folded to Anton Makievsky with pocket queens on the Jack Link's beef jerky hole count.
I hadn't really thought about it. I was pretty sure it was going to be voted illegal. They had like a floor convention, because obviously there's not a rule about that. So they decided it was going to be a form of collusion.
Makievsky with a raise to 125,000. Erick Motino folds a suited queen 9. Fold that over to Brian Yoon, king jack offsuit.
Yoon pretty active, and now pretty short stacked.
Yep.
I'm all in.
He says all in for 840,000. Lindgren folds now to Alexander Mozhnikov, the Russian. Ace-Jack suited.
He graduated from the Moscow University of Law and Business. I believe they are the Thundering Herd.
140,000 total.
Mozhnikov in the small blind.
I call.
He calls to put Yoon at risk. Doc Sands folds his big blind. Back to Makievsky now.
Makievsky with not much more than 1 million chips left. He likely will be pushing here.
All in.
He is all in with the queens.
All in.
All in.
Cool.
Mozhnikov calls, and now he has a chance to shorten the field by 2 if the right cards fall.
Ace Jack.
That's live.
Pretty good call.
Makievsky can virtually triple up here. Yoon in deep trouble.
Indeed, with a king-jack, Yoon going up against 2 superior hands. Here's the flop, 2 players at risk, and there's a queen for Makievsky. He hits a set.
Now, if you put Yoon and Mozhnikov's hands together, they'd still be way behind Makievsky. He's got a hammerlock on this one.
Yoon appears destined for the rail. The turn card, another 4, gives the Ukrainian a boat, a hand that cannot be beat. So Makievsky takes a chunk of Mozhnikov's chips, and in the process, Brian Yoon has been eliminated.
Good luck.
58th place, a nice payday will serve him well in Westwood during his last year at UCLA.
He was a kid with a dream.
Ace-Jack failed Mozhnikov, and it cost him about 20% of his stack. First, Anton Makievsky played interpreter, then he takes Mozhnikov's chips. Makievsky up to $3.4 million now here in the main event. The Amazon room continues to buzz here at the 2011 main event as we near the 50-player mark. Right now, let's go to Kara Scott with a report from the outer tables.
Brian Devonshire started with 30,000 chips just like everybody else, but you wouldn't know it to look at his stack. When I say that he's getting creative with his chips, I don't just mean the way that he's playing. And he knows how to play a big stack as well. He has 2 World Series final tables and a WPT final table behind him, and over $1 million in live tournament earnings.
Devo's chip stack reminds me of physics class when I had to build a bridge out of balsa wood.
Yes, I've had it for 1 night. 1 night and 1 dinner break every other time. No, maybe 2 now. What are we on, day 7? I don't know, they blend together. I think I've had 2 maybe. Definitely way less.
I have the Panorama chip lead.
Yeah.
All of Panorama.
You do.
Why don't you go ahead and raise fold to me so I can pick up the house chip lead? That'd mean a lot to me. Really would.
Ben's like, I only played like 8 events. 8 events.
Action on Ben Lamb. Lamb with king 7.
But every event he played, it took 4 or 5 days.
Lamb going to lay it down now to Lindgren.
I took 1 day off this summer.
Eric with king jack of hearts.
I took 2 days off this summer.
There you go.
A raise to 120,000.
At the end of the night, amateurs want to survive, but pros want to win, so they look to pick up chips.
Mozhnikov with ace-6 folds. Doc Sands from the button with ace-jack of diamonds calls.
Motino ended 4 of the first 5 days here with more chips than her boyfriend. Sands trying to regain the house chip lead.
So Sands and Lindgren heads up. The flop queen ace tray. Lindgren with a Broadway draw. Sands hits top pair. Lindgren checks. Sands gives a free card.
We've seen this so often, a strong hand checking the flop.
Turn card tray of diamonds. Sands adds the nut flush draw. Eric got no help.
When you check the flop as Sands did, you manage the pot size, and you often get value from opponents later in the hand.
Lindgren commits chips 150,000.
Lindgren takes a shot and hopes it's over. It won't be. And here's a case where if Sands had bet the flop, Lindgren might have folded. Instead, Doc gets 150,000 extra chips here on the turn.
Sands just with a measured call.
E-Dog measuredly concerned by that call.
River card now. 6 of diamonds, and Sands hits the nut flush. And now Lindgren.
Does Lindgren want to wave the towel or fire another bluff? You know Eric would love to chip up a little more.
The last hand of the night, he turns his hand into a badly timed bluff, 340,000.
He bets half the pot.
Sands not going anywhere.
All in.
And he raises all in. Eric says, oops, and lays it down.
Reclaims the house chip lead.
Erica had been ahead by 45,000 chips before that final hand.
Good game. Oh, man.
Yeah, Motino. Just when you talk about how many nights you've had the chip lead, I snatch it from your grasp.
Sands over 2.7 million.
Hey, babe, I'm really, really proud of you. That's an awesome accomplishment.
I don't think she wants to talk to him.
A hit to E-Dog, but still a positive day for him overall. Ryan Linehan needs an extra durable bag for his 12 million plus chips.
I know it's bad for the environment, but he really should double bag those chips.
Linehan leads the way. Lamb closing in on 10 million. 4 of the top 5 are 26-year-olds. But the big story, Motino and Sands at the same table. Kara is with them now.
Well, the draw is random, and when we get to this few players, it's, you're bound to run into each other. What did you think when David sat down?
I was pretty surprised when I saw him walk through the tunnel, but it was fun. It was nice to have him there.
Really no sort of, I don't want to play against him, that sort of thing?
No, I mean, there wasn't that much time left in the level, and it was fine.
How about you? You're sitting down there. She has position on you as well. What were you thinking?
I was just excited to be there. It was a great experience, and I think it's a really unique accomplishment, for both of us individually and collectively. The fact that she's the last woman standing, and it's her first 10K that she's ever played, and she just played great, and I'm really proud of her efforts and my efforts. So it was fun to be able to celebrate that together at the end of the day, for sure.
Well, best of luck to both of you tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the main event turns into the dating game.
Oh my God.
The doctor is in.
Alan Cunningham and Erick Lindgren were 2 of the most recognizable faces, but now one is gone and the other on the short stack.
All right, give him the pot.
Ryan Linehan stole the chip lead in dramatic fashion.
Wow.
But Ben Lamb and Matt Gianetti will have something to say about that on day 7. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.